What is up, everybody? My name is Hector Flores, host of the Insert Name FC podcast, a member of the Belly of Sports Media Network. You can find us on all things podcasting, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast fix from. You'll find us there. Make sure you guys check out the full video version of this podcast is available on YouTube. So go to Belly Up's YouTube channel, and the episode will be there, full video version and all. Also, subscribe to our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, X, at Insert Name FC. Yeah, man, just follow us there and give us some love. Episode 246. I'm going to be honest with you. There is a very hot topic in this episode. We are talking about the World Cup and, of course, the current issues that are happening right now here in North America, be it the U.S. and also in Mexico. So, yes, there is going to be a little bit of a very, obviously, I want to say controversial, but very hot topic. Topics are being discussed in that part. So, just so you guys have a heads up, if you guys don't want to hear about it, obviously respectfully. So, if you guys want to skip over it, by all means. Also, in the description we'll have we'll put down in the description each segment. So if you wanted to skip from that part, by all means. Like I said, once again, I have no ill will. I get it, but obviously this involves the World Cup, and we gotta talk about it. But yeah. So Kelcey from High Low Sports is joining to discuss headlines, and then we have John from the Pitch Grid joining in to talk Champions League. John, awesome grinder, man. Cool guy. Check out Pitch Grid. We'll have the links to his channel on the description for this episode. Yeah, man, cool guy. A lot of fun to talk to him about, just in general, how he got into the game. It's funny because last episode, one of the card that I got for Give and Go was talking about what's so special about American soccer, and I said it was such an intriguing question to ask someone that is from a different culture, essentially. Even though I was born here in the United States and I identify myself as an American, culturally, that's how I got involved with football or soccer. Whereas, people that grew up in America where soccer isn't necessarily the most popular sport, to hear their side. And honestly, man, just a great conversation with him. I'll let you guys just hear that conversation. He's a great guy. Talking about Champions League, obviously a lot of fun there. Give you guys some, obviously, players of the week, and then give you guys some games to look forward to this weekend. And Kelcey is still with us in this, at this part. For the closing part, we play Give and Go with Kelcey. Really cool conversation involving just nostalgia, good memories, core memories. So, I thought it was a really fun, topic. So really cool to have Kelcey to discuss that with. But yeah, aside from that, pretty straightforward episode. Might be a little bit lengthy just because obviously when me and Kelcey are on, we're going to talk for a good while. And of course, John, we had a lot to talk about as well. So it was also a great conversation with him. So with all that being said, man, I'm not going to make this podcast any longer than it needs to be. So we're going to go ahead and take a break and then go right into headlines with Kelcey Coyne of High Low Sports. Let me tell you guys about Belly Up Sports. Belly Up Sports is the internet sports bar. Go ahead and check out their website, www.bellyupsports.com, to read some great articles from great writers all across the country, from hockey, baseball, golf, soccer, you name it. Belly Up Sports is the premier, not your average website. All right, guys. Is this the first time for the year? I think so. Kelcey Coyne, it's for the first time for this year. We got Kelcey on, man. Obviously, it's always a pleasure to bring someone from the original days of Insert Name FC. Also, I love the fact that you have the Sorry for Cussing Kelcey shirt in the background.
Yeah, for those that haven't seen it yet, there you go. It's beautiful.
Oh, man. What a great recurring joke that we now have now on the show. You can thank Vince Stover, by the way, for that.
It's fantastic. I love it.
Also, what a legend Vince Stover is. Yeah. But yeah, man, Kelcey's back. Edward got in the midst of, because now his kids are into Pokemon cards, so it happens.
Hold on. I got this for him. Here you go. Yeah, I got him too.
Cool.
Yeah, I just pulled that today, actually. So
But yeah, so Edward's kids are now going into wanting their own collection of Pokemon cards. Like Edward somehow still has his. I don't know what happened to my collection. I didn't really have like a good collection to begin with. But like Edward was very much like he had like the folder. He had like the binders with the little everything. He was very much into it. I'm pretty sure he also had like that similar setup with his Yu-Gi-Oh cards. But yeah. Kelcey's in, super sub as always. You know the legend that he is. I know Jose is gunning at that title, but I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
He's got a few years to catch up on me.
Definitely. But yeah, Kelcey, it's great to have you back on, man. How's it been, man?
Yeah, it's been, man. It's been good. You know, it's World Cup year. So not just World Cup year, but World Cup USA year. And I know Mexico and Canada are included, but I'm not going to the Mexico and Canada matches. I'm just going to try to go to the USA matches, which I don't know if I can afford them. But hey, we're here.
Yeah, the World Cup will be discussed in this episode. Unfortunately, not for good things, but we'll definitely be talking about it. But we'll start things off with the first headline. It is involving the U.S. in some way because Inter Miami, which obviously is comprised of a lot of international guys, some American players, but obviously they have chosen to play for other national teams because that is a thing. We are the melting pot for obvious reasons. But yes, 2025 MLS Cup champions Inter Miami will be at the White House come March 5th. So when this episode drops, Lionel Messi and the boys are going to be there with the one, the only Donald Trump, which it's just like, who would... I always look back at it because Messi won an award during Biden's era. Mm-hmm. And Messi was like, I can't go, I'm busy. But I'm going to be really much find this just hilarious just because of the fact that, like, not that long ago, well, it probably is long ago, Ronaldo was at the White House. I think it was for something with Saudi Arabia because now I guess
Ronaldo's he's the ambassador.
He's the ambassador for Saudi Arabia who
or
had that
ambassador.
For the league, probably more so. But yeah, so Ronaldo was there. He met Donald Trump. Trump did the pictures with him and everything. So are we going to see Messi with Donald Trump? I can't even finish the sentence.
Yeah. No, that is crazy. I laugh every time I think about it. I'm just thinking about the people that are going to meet him. Jordi Alba, Sergio Busquets, Messi. And then it's Suarez. Suarez. Like, the words I want to say are probably not appropriate for a sports podcast, so I'm going to leave those alone. But I'll just say it's going to be hilarious. Because I don't know how you can stand on whatever platform he stands on as he's shaking hands with international superstars who are currently taking jobs away from Americans in an American soccer league. So that's all I'm going to say, and I'm going to leave it at that. But I think it's hilarious in so many ways. And there's, you know what, especially if he delivers McDonald's like he did for the Clemson national championship team.
I can't believe he's still going on with that bit. It was the funniest thing was when it was Clemson winning the national championship. And just seeing Trevor Lawrence holding a very fancy plate, but with the box of a Big Mac, was just like was just like chef's kiss of comedy. But
now imagine Messi, who is a diehard Pepsi guy, literally sponsored Pepsi guy, eating McDonald's, which is a Coca-Cola company, has their Coca-Cola company on all the drink lists. They don't have any Pepsi products. They're banned from McDonald's. So what is Messi going to do? Because he's not going to have a McDonald's cup with the Coca-Cola logo at the bottom of it.
Yeah, this is the one time Coca-Cola is going to get like, gotcha, like you did that petty commercial with my polar bear.
we got Messi.
We got Messi with a Coke.
You took our polar bear, we took Messi.
That's right, like the greatest trade-off of all time.
Yeah.
That is, yeah. So now there is an obvious reason as to why Inter Miami chose this date. It's because, well, they're playing DC United this weekend, so that is essentially the real reason why they're going. It's just very convenient. They're already going to be in the area, so might as well do the visit. But obviously, it is something here in America where it's just a tradition where the team that wins the American League Championship goes to the White House and meets the president. And we've had some very interesting trips in general of teams going to the White House. One of the funniest ones to me, at least, was obviously I know 2017. Say which one was it, but was just Jose Altuve just staring very just seriously as Donald Trump is talking about something, and everyone just thought that Altuve was just mean mugging the fuck out of, sorry for cussing Kelcey, out of Donald Trump, and the whole time was just Altuve was like, oh no, I was just listening.
Yeah. Like, I'm checked out listening for a trash can to signal me when I can move again.
He didn't do it. Didn't use
it. Hey, whatever works. It's just that really large tattoo that's conveniently has a random bump that looks like a wire in the middle of it. No big deal.
It's hearsay. So, but yeah, we've had some interesting trips for the White House. Obviously, Clemson with the fast food. Yeah, U.S. hockey, that was like, oh, he's still doing this.
Yes, yeah, he's still doing this. This is still happening. This is still. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm ready for the comedy of it all. Like, obviously, when this airs, we'll have seen it, so it's going to be funnier even more so. Then, like, we're sitting here talking about it speculatively, but when this actually airs, it literally will have just happened. So we could be predicting the future or could be completely wrong. But I'm waiting for the memes that come from this.
I'm just like, if Trump really wants to surprise me, he just has like a paella just like ready to go. Like,
oh man, I don't even know if that's something that his chefs know how to make, and I don't mean that to be offensive. I'm just saying I don't think that he's like, he's one of those guys that always talked about his love of McDonald's, getting 2 hamburgers, getting a Diet Coke, getting fries, and like that's his thing. I don't know if the guy has ever eaten paella ever in his life. I don't know if that guy's ever eaten anything ethnic in his life. So, because we definitely don't count McDonald's as ethnic anywhere.
Yeah, that would just be funny. He's just like, I know you guys like paella, paella.
No, he's not even gonna say a paella. He's gonna be paella. He's gonna pronounce the L's. It's gonna be L's. Like, gosh, I don't even want to hear it. Yeah. Oh man, this is now. Yeah, I really can't wait for the memes for that come from this though. That's what this is all. That's gonna be the next T-shirt.
I can't wait. I just can't wait in general. If Messi is holding McDonald's or just any of the guys are holding McDonald's, it's just gonna. This was like the thing I was excited for when the Toronto Raptors won the NBA championship.
Oh, yeah.
But then I was like, wait, they're not gonna. Will a Canadian team go to the White House or would they go see the Prime Minister of Canada? Which I'm pretty sure that's what actually happened. But
they didn't do anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have just loved it to see them eating Tim Hortons. Like, it just, even though I have absolutely no idea what Tim Hortons, besides coffee, I have no idea what Tim Hortons has.
Tim Hortons is a slightly better version of Krispy Kreme.
Okay.
Unless you like really sugary drinks, then Krispy Kreme and Dunkin' Donuts is your better option. But like Tim Hortons is your coffee and donuts, like your basic donuts.
See, there is
Nothing
one
fancy.
by my house, and I just recently went to Dutch Bros. So I mean, like it's gonna take like another 5 years before I finally go to Tim Hortons.
I've been to too many work conferences and work events where the only thing nearby is Tim Hortons, and I'm just like, all right, I guess I'm eating Tim Hortons today. And yeah, that's how I've learned about Tim Hortons. But if you ever get the chance, maple bacon donuts, 10 out of 10.
All right, I might have to do that. But yeah, so take that as you want. Inter Miami will be at the White House. I can already hear the jokes, the ice jokes. I can already hear the Trump misappropriately just saying something to Messi. Maybe Ronaldo's better joke. There's gonna be a Ronaldo joke at some point. Yeah, I just
or will he make a New York Cosmos Pele joke? I can see the New York Cosmos Pele tie it back to his, because he's a New York guy. Tie it back to that. And his spending money on sports back in his days. I believe he was an investor in the Cosmos back in the day as well.
Yeah, I think so. And he always throws back Pele, which is like the equivalent of like when a white dude wants to argue about rappers and just throws out Eminem. Like, it's just not fair. It's not a fair thing to throw out.
You throw out the best, probably one of the best rappers flat out. Like, you can't do that. Like you can't just throw out one of the best soccer players ever.
Like, you can't. And then obviously an icon that is no longer with us. Of course, no one's gonna say anything bad about Pele. Just like for obvious reasons, no one's gonna talk bad about Eminem. Or at least, unless you want to get famous, go, by all means. But I mean,
yeah, I've been tempted in my life, but I don't want to be that kind of famous.
Yeah, for sure. But we'll see, man. It's gonna be interesting. I can't wait to see the images and all that. I'm sure we'll be very active on the memes department as far as that goes. But
oh yeah, I'm waiting for the T-shirt that'll come out of this. That's what I like. It'll be added to my wall. I have my Pochettino shirt as well, so I got to get that up for the World Cup. And now I need a third shirt. So, yeah, I'm just waiting for whatever meme comes out of this to be turned into a T-shirt.
I seriously just want a picture of Messi like just holding McDonald's. That's all I need. Like, give me that. I'm turning that into a cartoon. I don't care. I have an addiction.
Goat.
And if I can't hopefully not get sued by McDonald's. haven't happened yet, but we'll see. Yeah, I'll eventually get sued for something.
It just means they're listening, right? That's at the end of the day. It means McDonald's listening.
Or hook a brother up. All right. So speaking of the World Cup, let's just go right into it. There has now been some concerns happening in Mexico, but I'll just make it even more broader and just say there's concerns right now in general with North America. So, but we'll go into the first thing, which is obviously there's already been some matches that have been postponed in Liga MX because of just all that's been going on with the military operation that Mexico is doing to finally answer the ongoing issue in Mexico, which is the cartels that that's made Mexico just one of the not a very safe country to go to, depending on the areas you go to. Obviously, if you go tourist, you'll be fine. But and obviously this led to an even a massive slide of events, a massive chain of events because of obviously the passing of one of the biggest cartel leaders over there in Nemesio Ruben Oseguera Cervantes. Try saying that 5 times in a row.
Didn't say it once.
But obviously that has now led to basically some sort of, I don't want to say it, but kind of like in their own way of a civil war between the cartels and the Mexican government, which is kind of crazy because the Mexican government has been kind of on the payroll for the cartels for many years. But it is something that's being, I guess, finally addressed. I think the people of Mexico have wanted to feel safe, kind of similar to what happened with El Salvador. I think it's a little harder to do it in Mexico, obviously, because Mexico is just massive versus the size of El Salvador, which is the size of Connecticut. So, like, it's a little bit easier to do that in El Salvador versus Mexico, where it's just a large mass of land. Like you can't cover everything, and I think that's like the differences between the two situations. Yeah, but that's what's going on, and obviously because of that, it's affecting matches right now in Mexico, which has raised concerns by FIFA. Though Infantino has made it clear that they are still feel like preparations will be good on track for Mexico. They are monitoring the whole situation, but obviously this is not something that you want going into when you're not a year away, you're months away from the World Cup, and your opening match is in Mexico. So obviously it's got to be a concern right now for anybody that's going to the World Cup when they're seeing that. But I will tell you, it is not new to be going into a country that has any sort of conflict, I think, for World Cups.
Yeah. So this has happened we talked about this on High Low actually recently, because we were talking about the New England Patriots Stadium. That's another one, right? They're the security teams. Who's going to pay for the security teams in Foxborough? This isn't the first time the World Cups have had issues. I remember all the way back to 2006 in Germany was probably the last World Cup that I don't remember there being major infrastructure or stadium or people issues. Now, there was a strike by some of the civil service workers in Munich prior to the World Cup in 2006. But other than that, there was nothing major. But ever since then, South Africa, there were issues. In Brazil, there were issues. I mean, it has been something every single year, every single World Cup year. And it's always going into the World Cup. It's never like a 2 years, 3 years out. Qatar had issues from the word go until literally 2 weeks before, when they finally passed we'll allow you to drink alcohol only in the stadium situations. Mm-hmm. There's always something. And I don't want to belittle what's happening, because what's happening is serious. If anybody ever knows anything about structures of power, you lose a power, it creates a vacuum. People fight for that power. It's why wars happen all the time. It's why there's gang wars. It's why there's things like that. People want to fight for that power. That's what's happening here. Is you have the government sees a way in, and you have the gang seeing their opportunity to grow bigger. Blah 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 blah. The unfortunate side effect is, like you said, soccer matches are being impacted, football matches are being impacted, and the people that are there to watch the games, the people that are there just to live, they're impacted. So it's a tough situation. When you start talking about this specific situation in Guadalajara, it's not easy. It's not an easy thing to even talk about regularly. because there's a lot that we don't know because of how things have always been in Mexico. And, there's always the American bias that comes into play when we talk about Mexico. Everybody kind of knows it. It's not that bad of a place in the grand scheme of the world. But to Americans, obviously, it gets a little bit more of a negative connotation than most other places. Just like Mississippi gets a bad connotation in the 50 states. It's the same concept in most Americans' eyes. And for soccer fans, we look at it more as man, this is a chance to have a great spectacle, and we can't even do that. And it sucks that we're March and this is happening. It's 2.5 months until kickoff. That's tough. It's tough to go into. It's not because let's be honest, it's not just Guadalajara. It's Foxborough, which is already a bad stadium choice anyways because it's nowhere near infrastructure. There's already conversations about the travel issues that are going to be occurring. There's conversations around teams camps and how that's going to go. The water break situation. Are we going to have too many security, not enough security around stadiums? How are we doing the ticket process? Because, if you've ever been to an American stadium, especially football stadiums, it's a huge security risk that they put up. It's not like in every other country where you come in, you file through a queue, and then you're in the stadium. It's like you really don't get to do anything other than stand in a line to get into the stadium. That's it. That's all you do. And then once you're in there, then you can go and check out concessions. But there's no taking pictures of the ground. There's none of that. You can't get within usually half a mile of the stadiums.
You can't even get into the concourse, the one. You can't even go into the second just to take a picture of the field because
nothing.
Go to your seat. Yeah,
it's crazy. So there's a lot of questions I have about it that aren't even really being talked about. And as bad as the situation in Guadalajara is for the people there, I think for FIFA, it's a less concerning situation. FIFA's had its own problems over the years, and if this is one of them, I honestly, you probably shouldn't have put it in Guadalajara to begin with. That's a different conversation, though. But that more has to do with the fact that you're putting teams in there that have colors that are technically banned by some of the stadiums in the region. So that's not a smart choice to begin with. But yeah, I don't know. It's a tough situation. Hopefully it gets resolved.
And it needs to be resolved right away because the international break is not that far from here. We're entering March, and if you guys don't know, in March we are going to have the final play-in matches for FIFA because for some reason they like to do announce the groups, but don't have the play-ins done.
So dumb.
So the play-ins are going to be played in Mexico, and I believe specifically Guadalajara. So, this is where FIFA is going to have to hopefully it is, we are monitoring this now. We're going to hope that everything runs smoothly in these matches here and then to see who's going to be those teams that get to qualify that get those final spots in the World Cup. And obviously we all are waiting for that as well because, obviously once those are set, we can finally start really trying to get into these deep dives with these teams. And I'm really rooting for the Congo to really, because I need more Congo. Because AFCON was just not enough. I need more of the Congo. Like I said it, I am ready to be that white dude playing, dancing with the Africans. I am ready. And obviously, guys, you guys know I'm not white, but
I didn't want to be the one to say it, but I was just like, do I need to put a mirror in front of you or what?
I don't know. I look at myself in the mirror and I'm pretty pale.
I will stop myself from talking at this point. Meat kettle.
Yeah, the pot beat kettle. but yeah, I am going to be the pale complected person dancing with the Africans. That's what I want to be.
At least you can carry a beat. This white guy can't carry a beat, so
yeah, I'm. That's the benefit of being Latino.
Yeah. I don't have enough melanin in my bloodstream.
But yeah, that's going to be it's going to be important to find out how that all works out in Mexico because this is also, we talk about Gold Cup and the Club World Cup for the US. This was their practice run to see how well they're going to be able to host a big tournament. For Mexico, these play-in matches are going to be essentially their litmus test, their stress test on how they're going to perform, which I'm sure they'll be fine. Obviously, Mexico, they're a football nation. They're more used to the football crowds. They know how to deal with them. I think their stadium situations are a little bit different versus the ones in America, because one, they're actually like actual football stadiums and actual football pitches, versus the U.S., which I don't know how many of these stadiums officially have switched over to complete grass.
Oh yeah, they all have now. As of March, they've all transferred their grass.
Okay, well, so at least
yeah, March 1st was the deadline for getting the grass planted.
Okay.
Supposedly.
All right, well, we'll hope, but that's going to be important. Now, on the other side, because this isn't just a Mexico thing, because there's also the U.S. is also having their moment in the sun right now, because meanwhile Canada is just chilling with Vancouver. I think it was like BC Place Stadium and Toronto.
Yeah, Toronto, BC.
Yeah,
Toronto and BC Place.
So yeah, they're just chilling.
Oh,
right
in Vancouver, I think. Isn't Vancouver one of them?
Vancouver, that's BC Place.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I was thinking Montreal in my head, but no, they're not. Olympic Park.
It's funny to think about Vancouver only because obviously the ownership, the whole thing with Vancouver, and you can't play a wild card game for Vancouver Whitecaps because we have a Monster Jam. It's still up there. It's just, what are we doing? But anyways, that's not important. But obviously the U.S. has done a strike, an airstrike over in Iran, which, once again, timing wise, probably not the best time. I mean, for the sake of, people already don't like that the World Cup's here in the U.S. Like, trust me, I've seen it.
Oh yeah.
I've seen the comments, I've seen the messages, I've seen the videos, I've seen the responses, the reactions, and all that. Yes, people don't like that the U.S. is hosting the World Cup, and they specifically call out the U.S. I understand. They complain about the time zone. Well, hey, look, time zone's still gonna be the same for Mexico. Time zone's still gonna be the same in Canada. But I get it. I get the whole disdain for America right now. I totally get it. Is our president not helping us either? Yes, I get it. So don't think I'm not blind. Yes, I claim to be an idiot, but I'm also one ex-military, so I also know how annoying our government is, regardless of the regime. So I don't want to think that I'm not fully aware of what's going on.
It doesn't matter which side. I'm glad you put that point in. That is a very important point. It doesn't matter who's in office, what color of party they represent. They're all paid to be stupid.
Yeah, they're like they all in my words, I've always said it. They all suck. So, yeah. But yeah, so the airstrikes happened in Iran. It's very similar to what the U.S. did with Venezuela. I don't. Honestly, funny enough, the same exact thing happened because what happened when they went and got the leader of Venezuela. You saw all the Venezuelans that live here in the U.S. celebrating, and you kind of saw the same thing with this one, where you saw. I'm not gonna say all of them, but we did see a lot of people from Iran also doing similar celebrations.
Mm-hmm.
Take that for what you want. I'm not here to say whether or not what's right or what's wrong, but people feel now relieved or safe in some case. But obviously, Iran is not necessarily. I don't want to take anything away from Iran. I think from where they were years ago, obviously have taken some strides, but obviously they still had like their specific conflicts. And at the end of the day, which once again, just specifically in that region, I understand is more of a hot topic. But yes, the U.S. did have some strikes over there in Iran, and on top of that, Iran is in the World Cup, and they're actually a really good team in Asia. Really excited to see what they can do. Obviously, shout out to Xiaoyan. He has been a big speaking on Iran because obviously he is from Iran, or he is Iranian, and he supports the Iran national team, as you should. And he's been very critical about the Iran national team, as he should. And so, I've learned more about Iran's football more so through Xiaoyan. So shout out to him. But yeah, with that being said, obviously people aren't, some people in Iran are not happy with this airstrike. Being so that Iran's even talking about potentially opting out of the World Cup, which I would be very disappointed not to see Iran here. I know that there's also a lot of issues with the whole letting certain countries come through for I forgot what's for like immigration reasons. That
visa, it's a visa reason.
Visa reasons, which I think is ridiculous. Like, it's the World Cup. The whole point to have the World Cup is that we're getting to see all these other countries. I think that this is one. And I hate that. Like, I hate saying like maybe we should let them slide for this one, but then that sounds stupid because of just the other immigration issues that are happening with this country. That's like, oh, so you're just gonna let these athletes come in, but not this guy that's been trying to do things the right way, and 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 just because he can't kick a ball, he doesn't get a visa, and so I get all that stuff. But obviously, it's the World Cup. This is probably one of those times where just having like a simple permission. They're not gonna be here. They're not staying here, guys. Come on, like let's be honest. Like they're gonna go back to their clubs. They're gonna go back and play professionally. Unless they want to play in the MLS, that's a whole other different discussion. But like they're here to play in this tournament. It's not like they're here to do anything else besides that. Nor will they have the time to do anything else besides play in this competition. Because let's be honest, the life of an athlete kind of sucks. Besides being paid to play a game that we all love, they have to take care of their bodies. They can't be going out too much. Like, I mean, I think Joakim Noah said it best. He's like, being a great athlete is cool and all, but it does suck because you have to make the right decisions, right? You don't get to do all that stuff. So, I mean, this is kind of like, it's kind of for this occasion, I don't necessarily think that we have to be this strict as far as like letting them in because they earned it. They earned their right to be in this competition. And I think Iran, obviously not for those, is not the reason why they're opting out. They're opting out because of what's happening with their nation because of the U.S. And so I would be disappointed if Iran's not here, but I can also understand why they would not want to come into this country right now.
Yeah, it's been a tough road. I mean, look, they are one of the best teams in Asia. They are well deserving of their spot in the World Cup, and for the players, it's terrible to see. For the average citizen of Iran, it's terrible to see that you may not have your national team in the biggest spectacle of the world, especially in the World Cup that has more teams than ever before. You'd think this would be the one that they're like, we definitely want you here. We want to have you here. And yeah, it sucks that here we are again talking about a political situation involving itself into what could be a global game and global support system. And as if America already didn't have enough issues supporting the game of soccer or football, whichever part of the world you're in. Now we're throwing the fact that America keeps throwing fire on the whole thing through their political measures. It's like, what are we doing here, guys? Can we not get 6 months apiece? Like, my soccer fan in me is like, I want 6 months apiece. I'm tired of this political BS that gets itself involved in sports. And I get it. Athletes have a priority to stand up for, their own beliefs. That's fine. I don't care about that. That doesn't bother me. I just hate when political things affect what could be one of the greatest global spectacles in the world ever, and we're not allowing it to happen. But yeah, it's a tough situation, man. It's like, I get it for all the reasons that it happened. I get the reasons why Iran is not, the Iranian national football team is not wanting to maybe come and do this. It's already been jumping through hoops to get here. Now, I'm going to throw something out there for all the Americans that are listening to this. The next country in line, supposedly, is Iraq. So take your pick. Do you want Iran or you want Iraq? You don't get much of a choice here. But yeah, I hate it because the footballing nation, the football growth that's happened in Iran is going to be stunted if they don't show up to the World Cup. And I'm not saying that like as it's like oh, you didn't show up to America, so ha ha ha, this is what you're going to do. No, I mean, like, this is just what happens. If you miss out on a World Cup for whatever reason, your country's footballing abilities drop off for at least 2 cycles. And it's just what happens. And it's tough to see if that's going to be the case because they've made such a rise in the last couple cycles. And yeah, but I guess it's the modern world, right? We have to deal with everything being affected by geopolitical conversations and actions. So shout out them, I guess, at the end of the day.
Unfortunately, that's kind of like where we are now. Is just that everything is gonna be. I think obviously once a certain term is over, I think that this is gonna kind of be how it is. Whether or not you're on that side of that term or whether you're against the side of that term, like it's just everything right now. The U.S. is just under we're kind of like the laughing joke right now, right? Like,
oh yeah,
we're the ones that voted in a reality TV star
Twice.
Twice. And once again, to each its own. Once again, I stand on the side of they're both idiots. So don't put me under any of them. Which, trust me, like, it was massively annoying. Going to see my family in California and all them making assumptions about me because I'm ex-military, which is one just seeing who's casting judgment on people for no reason was kind of salty. But anyways, that's not important. But
I think that's a point, though, right? That's what sucks about this whole thing is everything's politicized. Everything. I mean, it's crazy to me that we can't talk about a game. Like, literally, this is a game. This is a game that we played from the age of 4 or younger. If you're in a different part of the world, you probably played it since the moment you started walking. Before you could probably walk, your parents were probably tossing you a football or soccer ball, and you were kicking it around. You didn't even know any better. And now we're at the point where there's going to be a generation who doesn't know football as the beautiful game. It's going to be known as the political game. Because it's not just the U.S. Let's not kid ourselves. Yes, we're the butt of all jokes. But this has been happening since 2014. This has been happening in 2010. I mean, you remember the CONCACAF situation? Remember the FIFA scandals? Italy? Take your pick along the way. There's always been a political aspect to the game of football, the game of soccer.
2022
and it's just,
was also very controversial.
Oh, yeah. I didn't want to bring it up. But, yeah, that's like its own thing, right? I mean, it seems like it never fails. Everything seems to become, when you start talking about the global game and FIFA and the World Cup, people can't keep their fingers out of it. They want their part of the pie, and they want their political regime to be beliefs to be the forefront. And it's like, we don't need that.
There always seems to have as if now there has to be a controversy.
Yeah.
Like there just has to be a controversy involving the World Cup. Obviously Russia had its own massive controversy alone just because it was Russia. But on top of that, how quickly, we not including myself, but just people in general, how they try to illegitimize like France's success.
Yeah.
For the team that they had, because they're like, oh, if these guys actually play for the country they're from, first of all, they're all French.
Yeah.
Like I can give a rat's ass like what country they are originally from or where their parents are from. If they told you they're French, you respect the hell out of the fact that they consider themselves French. They grew up in France. They grew up watching the French national team. They saw Thierry Henry just as much as everybody else did. That inspired them. Like, I don't know why.
Nicolas Anelka, like
why are we're taking people's like citizenship status away from them just because of they could be playing for another region? And I'm like, I applaud people that play for countries for family reasons, or for like the guys that choose to play for El Salvador, even though it's kind of funny watching them not know how to sing the national anthem. Like I applaud the guys that like, oh, you know what, I want to play for Nigeria, I want to play for Jamaica, I want to play for this country because this is where my parents are from. Like, I don't try to look for like, oh, this guy just wants to go there just so he can finally play. He took the easy way out. He didn't.
There's always going to be one, right? There's always going to be one or two. Like that's just what it's going to be. I mean, and that's fine. Like, you see it mostly out of the bigger nations going to the smaller nations. But I honestly, okay, they end up embracing it. Now, it doesn't always happen. There's always one or two examples. I mean, there's one on Jamaica right now that you could probably point out. But I think there's always going to be. We just finished the Olympics. We just finished the Winter Olympics. How many Winter Olympic athletes were playing for another country or were participating for another country because that's where their family's from, and that's where they feel the most relationship to? Eileen Gu is the perfect example of that. Alyssa Liu is the perfect example of it as well for America. It's the reverse. One participated for China, one participated for America, but they both have the cross nationalities with their families. It's like, if that's where they feel like it's home, I have zero issue with it. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, I think American national soccer teams should have multi-nationalities to it, because we are the melting. You said it earlier. We're the melting pot. We have literally people being born as American citizens all over the world. Bring them into the team. Let's see what happens. And I don't disrespect any nation that does that. Now, it does get a little annoying when I see a player try to transfer nationalities 3 different times. Then so be it, I guess. But like, you only really see that in the Mexican American national teams. I don't really see it anywhere else. But there's always the one or two that are just like, whatever, man. Like, you're annoying. You're not actually that good either way, whether you're up playing for this country or that country. But you're good. You're a good or club team player. That's fine. But I don't need you on the national team. Like, other than that, man, I don't care. Play wherever you feel is home. Like, I don't know. I wish people would learn that. It doesn't need to be politicized. It's like, if that's what your family is, that's what you were raised to be, you're that. Oh, so be it.
Yeah, and I mean, so, like, the whole point is obviously there's always going to be a controversy with the World Cup. I mean, like, Club World Cup, I know a lot of people had a lot of things to say about it. I'll be intrigued what people are going to say when they're playing it in Saudi Arabia, or, well, not Saudi Arabia. They'll be playing it in either Spain, Morocco, or Portugal. Or maybe they might surprise me and play it in Argentina for some weird reason. But I can't wait for the controversy for those games. Like, I can't wait for you guys complaining about the time zone change. Because of those games. I really can't wait for the complaints, because, like, as much as I was excited for the World Cup to be here in North America, I'm not going to say that just the U.S., North America, because I thought it was cool that we're having a continent hosting, the World Cup. Like, not many other people can say that besides Australia. Like, could be like, hey, an entire continent is hosting.
Let's be fair. There was only 4 cities in Australian World Cup that were used. But there were 6, but still.
Yeah, and I think there are things that could help prevent the World Cup being, like, as bad of a time zone change. But the reality is, you want to play in California. You want to play in New York.
You want to play in
Miami, Texas as well. Like, you want to play in these big regions because of when you think of America, you think of those areas specifically. So, like, I also don't like. I also get why they didn't necessarily make it just, all right, well, the World Cup final is going to be in New Jersey. Why don't we just center it around that area?
Oh, that would have been miserable.
That would have been miserable. But, and I mean, let's face it, y'all, once again. And then Mexico is also going to be very different when it comes to time zone change. I mean, Toronto and Vancouver, literally on the different side of Canada. So,
Eastern time zone and Pacific time zone, guys. They're still the same. They exist in Canada. They exist in Mexico too. But
I will say, it is alarming that with all these things that are happening politically, unfortunately, that is it just, once again, it just adds more fuel to the fire to the people that think that this World Cup was a mistake. And that's what's going to be. Like, unfortunately, there's nothing we can do to really change it. That's just going to be the opinion until kickoff. Literally, as soon as the kickoff happens, hopefully things go on the wayside, because honestly, Qatar, as controversial as that World Cup was, to the point where we're even playing it in November. Like, we're playing these matches in November, finishing almost at December,
and late at night too.
Late at night, like that World Cup, with all its controversy, with the whole, literally the scandal that happened in FIFA. There's literally a documentary on it about everything that came into how Qatar got to be the host of that World Cup. And, at the end of it all, do we even talk about it anymore? Do we not talk about the people that we lost for building those stadiums, the people that didn't get paid for building those stadiums, the how poorly some people were treated over there in Qatar? Literally, it's against the law to be gay in Qatar. Like, which I still think that's going to be interesting search when you find somebody. But, like, all the issues that Qatar had with human rights and, in general, and, like, no one talks about that anymore. Because why? Lionel Messi lifted a World Cup.
And let's be honest, that was one of the more fun World Cups we ever got to watch. I think, top to bottom, I think it was a top 5 World Cup of our lifetime, and it wasn't number 5 or 4. But I think, and I think you're right. I think once that first kickoff happens and we get through that first set of games, we're going to know what to expect. And there's so many teams that part of me does worry you get a little washed out in the group stages. But I think once we get into the knockouts, everything's going to change, and it's going to be a World Cup. It's going to be one of the best World Cups we've ever watched. I think every opportunity. And the only thing I hope, above all hopes, just from a standpoint of just watching it as a general fan, is no match is affected by anything other than potentially weather. That's all I hope impacts anything that's happening on the field. Because as long as that's the only situation, then we're good. Like, we made it through. Let's move on. We can figure our stuff out on the other side. Let's just see the beautiful game being played. That's all I want to see.
Yeah, that's exactly what I just want. I just want the game to be played, just in general. But all right, moving on to something more lighthearted. I know that was a very rough conversation, but it involves the game, man. That's all I gotta say. Antoine Griezmann to Orlando, and honestly, like when the reports, look, there's certain people when it comes to MLS news that this person mentions it, you gotta kind of listen, and that is of course Tommy Bogart. He is basically he is our Shams. He is our as far as the MLS community, he is our Shams. He is our Shep. Schefter. Yeah, there we go. He is our Schefter. Just very more relaxed looking. So not wearing a suit, just maybe wearing a nice little jacket with some cool kicks.
Yes.
So very interesting character, but I actually got to meet him. He's actually a really cool guy. And that not as a podcast host, actually more as the Hector the Kit Man. Got to meet Tommy V's.
Oh, that's even better, and he was still a cool dude.
Yeah, he was a cool dude, and I'm just here washing jerseys. But yeah, so he drops the bomb that Orlando City has been reported to be in talks with the 2018 World Cup champion, Antoine Griezmann. Now, before everybody gets all shocked about it, first of all, no one should be shocked by this. Antoine Griezmann has been very vocal about wanting to come to MLS. He eventually wants to come to MLS. This dude really loves America. Like, I don't know what it is. American culture. Let's be honest, but this dude...
He loves American football. He loves all of it.
He loves American football. He loves the NBA. I always made jokes on Goals TV that he needs to go to a market that has a good NBA team. And to be fair, that probably isn't even that important. Like,
just a team that he can go mess around with.
A team that he's gonna see all the guys at some point. Like, he's gonna go see LeBron. He'll see, Steph Curry, if Steph Curry's still playing. He'll maybe, but like he'll go there. You need to give him a city that at least is within the vicinity of an NFL team, and is at least within the vicinity of an NBA team. Maybe good isn't necessarily the important factor for the NBA team. And I mean, Orlando, you're right next to
Disney.
Kissimmee is in, like, I think in Kissimmee, Florida. That's where Disney World's at.
I mean, it's Orlando adjacent.
I know the Orlando airport. I know that's why.
Yeah. It's I think it's Kissimmee. I mean, technically Disney World is its own property, so it's actually I think it's like Lake Vista or something is actually where it is. But yeah, it's own zip code.
I've been to Disney World, by the way. Way better than Disneyland. That's all I gotta say. But
yeah.
But yeah, Disney World. You have Disney World. You got Universal Studios. So I mean, if there's a play, I guess, but without anybody knowing, Orlando has the discovery rights to Antoine Griezmann. Like, this is, for me, just an interesting setup. But when you thought of Antoine Griezmann eventually making his move to MLS, was Orlando the team you even thought about?
I'll be honest. I didn't think it was going to be a Florida team at all.
Mm-hmm.
I actually thought he was going to be a California guy, but not an LA guy. I thought he was going to be a San Jose guy, or maybe when they bring Sacramento into the MLS eventually, the Sacramento guy. I thought it was going to be something like that, but I was really thinking the San Jose situation, just because they haven't had anybody in a long, long time. Not for real.
They got Timo Werner.
Like I said, they haven't had anybody in a long, long time.
He got an assist.
I'm still waiting on that. I'm still waiting on that hat trick at this point in time. But no, and they're also close to San Francisco. They're also close to the Bay Area. So you get, you said NFL team, NBA team, hockey are all there as well. WNBA. But yeah,
I can see Griezmann going to a hockey game. That I can already see.
I don't know. I thought it was going to be something like that.
What's the San Jose Sharks thing? Like, their big thing when they have a guest, they just open the locker room door or some little tradition that they have.
Yeah. For the Sharks games, they'll open up the locker and walk them out. It's cool. I'm a Sharks fan, so that would have been really cool. I actually don't mind Griezmann. Yeah, honestly, I think that he's one of the few soccer players that are really famous that he just doesn't really bother me. Like, he doesn't really do anything to bother me. Plus, he's like just kind of a chill dude.
I think the only person that he pisses off is just the older generation, because obviously him doing the dances, the little Fortnite dances, the little L thing, and
I mean,
it goes back to me always going back, like, dude, this is a game. We're talking about a game. Like, like, we're really talking about somebody being professional when we're talking about playing a game. Like, if we were all in that same, if we're all Antoine Griezmann, by the way, and we're scoring banger goals and we're able to play alongside some of the best players in the world, like, I would be doing the stupid little L dance too. Like, I mean, like,
and he reminds me of somebody who made it. That's from the group, right? Like, we all have that group of friends. We all had that one kid in our group that was that athlete that was just really chill, but he was really good at sports. He's that kid, but he stayed humble. And people don't recognize, like, Griezmann's story is huge for that type of mentality. And I shouldn't just say it's Griezmann. There's a lot of soccer stars, but specifically we're talking about Griezmann here, so I'm going to use his story and I'm going to talk about it. He's a guy that was not counted on in France. He literally couldn't get time with a French team. And so he had to go to Spain. He had to get a trial with a Spanish team, and that was the only chance he had to succeed. So I think it was like 15 or something like that, and he ended up moving to Spain, whatever the youngest age they can in the EU. And that's how he ended up in Spain. That's how he ended up being who Antoine Griezmann is. I mean, for a long time, I honestly was like, is he French? Is he something else? I didn't know what his nationality was until he actually started playing for the French national team. Like, and they didn't give him credit as long. He could have been with the French national team a long time ago, and they just never gave him that opportunity. And so for him, he never bothered me from the standpoint of a superstar athlete, because he is a superstar in his own right. He is a superstar, and he never bothered me in the situation of, like, he's not too outlandish. He's not too crazy. Yes, he has fun on the field, and that's fine. Have fun. He takes his soccer serious, and that's the important thing. When he's on the pitch, he's on the pitch. When he's off the pitch, he does his life. And that's what you need to do to succeed, right? And I think for him, this is what's kind of cool about him going to Orlando, supposedly, if he ends up there, assuming he does. They don't trade his rights or anything. I think it's a perfect place for him because, like you said, there's an NBA team, but it's not a crazy NBA team. It's not like he's going to the Knicks or New York, and it's not like he's dealing with all that. He's not going to an LA and dealing with the LeBron stuff. He's going to Orlando, where it's the Magic, where, yes, he can get onto the court and he can do things with the Magic. He can be there, be around that, but he's also not going to be distracted by it. It's not like being in Miami and you have the Heat, you have the Marlins, you have the Dolphins, you have the University of Miami. He's not going to be distracted by any of that in Orlando. He's going to have a lot of things to do, but they won't necessarily distract him from on the pitch. And I think that's a huge part of whenever you talk about a superstar coming to America. So it wasn't my first choice. Probably wasn't even my 10th choice, but I like it. I don't hate it at all.
And I think if you're the MLS, like, look, does Messi give everything that you want? I think yes. I just don't. The only thing that I will say, this is not taking it. So for Messi stands, don't come at me. He's just not as marketable. Besides just, hey, look, it's Messi. Like, honestly, all the commercials you see Messi doing, they're just like, Messi, just stand there. Like, like, it's Messi stand there, give a high five, maybe say something in English, maybe if you can. Like, it's just, like, I think what for the bad boys for life. I think what did he say? Like, bad boys. Like, that's literally that's all he did. The Hard Rock Cafe Messi chicken sandwich. What did he do? He just clapped. He just clapped and gave somebody a thumbs up. Like, like
the Dos Equis commercials, right? Like, or not Dos Equis. What was the beer commercial he's in? It's not Dos Equis. It's something else. Michelob. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he speaks Spanish. Yeah, he speaks Spanish during it. The only English words he says is Michelob. Yeah.
So, like, Griezmann is 100% marketable. And he speaks English. So
he's a guy that's going to also bring a younger generation. And nothing against Messi. Messi is Messi. But if we're going to pick between Messi and Ronaldo brings the younger guys. He brings the younger generation. He is just because he's marketable to the younger generation. He's the guy they would immediately put in Fortnite, and they're like, "Oh, that's a dude," And then with Messi, he's the soccer fans guy. At the end of the day, he's the guy. If you love the sport, he's your dude of the two. I love both of them. I'm not going to pick one, but he's the guy for the analytics. Ronaldo's the other guy. Griezmann is the guy that's just loved by all, and he can fit into a lot of different genres. And like you said, he gets to a market in Orlando who needs somebody to market. They haven't had anybody to market since Kaká was there. And Kaká was kind of Messi-like, where he is somewhat marketable, but he also wasn't going to be coming out and doing a lot of the ads. Now you have Griezmann coming in that could be, heck, if Disney wants to put a commercial out there, he can be the face of Disney. You know, it could, things like that. He's the guy that can be the face of these. You're bringing in a DP, an IDP technically, and you're getting an opportunity to kind of present your team in a different light. And Orlando City has been one of those teams that's been around for a long time, prior to the MLS, but it seems like since they've been in the MLS, it was very exciting for 3 to 4 years for them, and now it's just been like, oh, here we are down here. And that's kind of sad to see. I want to see them back on top. I like the purple jerseys. I like the purple and gold. I want to see Griezmann kind of be marketed in the way of a different way of Messi. And I think that's a big piece. It's like what I think LA wanted to do with Marco Reus is what Orlando can actually do with Griezmann.
Yeah, that's honestly very spot on. I think that's all that I'm thinking of with Griezmann. Now, I believe March, somewhere in March, this is like the official timeline for any MLS transfers to be done, which is weird that we're like that's the rule that they do in MLS.
It's like a month into the season, so
yeah, MLS obviously because they got to work with their schedule, but which obviously it's not going to be like this for long. But obviously if you're this is kind of the challenge when it comes to trying to do these January transfer signings, because if a player like Antoine Griezmann, who maybe necessarily he's kind of on his exit right now with Atletico Madrid, but he's still very much part of Atletico Madrid. And, Atletico Madrid still have cup aspirations. They still are in for the Copa del Rey. And, depending on how they do in the Champions League, you would feel that they're very much in as well the way they play. Just, they're also built like a tournament team. And I mean, who's to say? Maybe Barcelona and Real Madrid go through a terrible slump, as I say this, as Real Madrid lost to Getafe. And who's to say? Me and Edward have always said this. It's always the weird years for Barcelona and Real Madrid that Atletico Madrid just randomly just wins it. Yeah. But they're also like super behind. But these right now, the way Real Madrid and Barcelona have been this year, these teams go on slumps, and it's like ridiculous slumps that. If Atletico Madrid could just somehow be consistent, they can easily jump over Real Madrid and Barcelona. They have a ways to go right now, but I'm saying, like it's one of those weird years that I would not be shocked if Atletico Madrid wins La Liga. They're not, but this would not be shocking for me. But once again, Atletico Madrid has cup aspirations, so why would they want to let Griezmann leave right now? So more than likely, Griezmann's going to come in the summer, which I mean, for Orlando, if you really think about it, if you have all the excitement from the World Cup, and here comes this dude that hopefully France had a really good World Cup, comes in, now you got more eyes on the seats because now you want to see this French international do his thing in a purple kit versus the blue kit or the red and white kit. I think that's going to be really awesome, because once again, it's about following up from that World Cup hype. And this is one of those, this will really do for continuing on the hype from the World Cup if you can get an Antoine Griezmann in your stadium.
Yeah. I think that's an important part, right? There's two things to this. He has to play for France if it's going to be successful. He has to choose to want to do this too. And I don't know, he's 34. He's a year younger than me. So at the end of the day, I don't know if he's in the grand stage of the world game, he's off his prime. He hasn't performed as well recently, but he's also not washed. Mm-hmm. And the MLS still has that unfortunate stigma, especially for European players, of being the retirement league. Can he avoid that and maybe go to another top tier league in Europe potentially, and that changes things? I don't know, but I do think if he comes to the MLS, for MLS to market him the best, he really does need to have playing time, or at least don the jersey for France and show up, so that way they can market that even more. I think that would be hugely beneficial. If not, I don't know if he's not playing for the French national team. I don't know if he comes to the MLS, honestly. But
I mean, he is coming. I think he is going to come to the MLS.
yeah,
but
I don't know. It's tough because now you have reports today that are like, well, he's not coming, or he's edging closer to denying, and and it's tough. It's like you see all these and you're like, I don't know what to believe anymore, because it's such a weird move, right? It's like it's a mid-season loan.
I think the idea of Orlando, I think, is like the part where maybe he's, at least I would imagine, if the like I will say though, if Orlando doesn't get the deal done, I can't see a world where Orlando does end up obviously selling those discovery rights to a team that maybe would be more pleasing to Antoine Griezmann. Obviously,
and there's a lot of them. I hate to say it.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's not Inter Miami. But Inter Miami, I would say, has done a lot of movement to maybe where they could potentially bring in an Antoine Griezmann, a guy that has
played Cristiano.
That too. But yeah, like I still think Antoine Griezmann, he still has an interest in MLS. I think he will eventually get to this league. I do think it's very much sooner rather than later that we'll see Antoine Griezmann in Major League Soccer. My final question for all this is that, like, because obviously, as someone that does support MLS and someone that does want to see this league grow, and I do believe they're finally taking the right steps to making this league. Which one? The gameplay, like people that shit on MLS. Sorry for cussing, Kelcey. Is that the reality? Is you guys don't watch the games? Like no one watches an MLS game. They're just like, oh yeah, no, it's ass. Like it's just not good. And I've said it plenty of times. I've watched bad leagues. Like I've watched bad leagues before, and I enjoy it thoroughly. Like I watched Salvadorian League, and I have the time of my life watching these games because it's just fun. Like it's hilarious. Yes, it is hilarious. I'm not gonna lie, but I have genuinely a great time. That's why I love watching Liga MX. Like, is it great? Is it great football? Not the best, but it's still like enjoyable. They do things they're like, oh, I never thought of that. I would have never seen a pro do this. Like, is that kind of stuff that you watch in these leagues? Like, you mean to tell me, like, guys that watch, like, the lower divisions in England, like, we're talking about, like, not even in the EFL level kind of stuff. Those guys, you don't think they'll get a knockout of watching a Salvadorian League game? They probably would be loving every minute of it. They'll probably stay up till, like, 2 a.m. to go watch this game. Especially with the Salvadoran team whose, logo's a pig. Like,
hey, sign me up for that team.
And also, I just became a fan of a team from Trinidad because their team name is Defense Force.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a very good one. I like that one. That's
search the teams in the Trinidadian League. It's the best thing I have ever did for myself.
That's what I'll be. Look, I'm a huge, when it comes to sports, I'm a huge nerd, surprising nobody. So I'm a person that looks for cool kits. So I always find the lower tier really cool teams, and those are the ones I always try to watch something of. But yeah, I'm the same way. Like, look, everybody who doesn't watch MLS, like, if you watch the Welcome to Wrexham show and you refuse to watch the MLS, you are not a true fan of sports. That's just period. Because if you watch Welcome to Wrexham, when Wrexham was at the lowest league, they were at a lower level than the MLS. And that's proven by sports bureaus all over the world. Says the MLS ranks as the 11th hardest sports league in soccer. It's not the top 10, but it's still 11. So you go through the Europes, okay. You add Portugal, you add Greece, you add Scotland to the mix. All right, now you got 3 more to fill in before you get to, or 2 more to fill in before you get to the MLS. It's probably European Championship, like the England Championship, and then League 2, or is probably where you're at, or Serie B. Like, and then the MLS is there. Okay. So where Wrexham is today is where the MLS is equal to, essentially. Like, come on, don't. It's like they stopped watching football before Beckham, or maybe shortly after Beckham showed up with the Galaxy. Because let's be honest, the MLS before that was hit it and go get it. All right, this kind of sucks. But, the Beckham experience brought over younger players that now they're playing in the MLS and they're exciting. They're fast. It's no longer the speed demons. It's no longer just hit it and get it and hope for the best or tackle the heck out of somebody and not actually play soccer.
It's no longer the days of F it Jordan Morrison's out there.
Yeah, you know, look, Josie Altidore was great because he was big, he was fast, he was strong, and he could beat over anybody else that was trying to tackle him. Like, that was what he was good at. But, like, there was no, from Freddie Adu to David Beckham, there was a gap of talent in the league, and that's just what it was. And then after Beckham, you saw a lot more young Americans especially step in, and then young Canadians step in, and young Mexican players step in, and now you bring in Venezuelans, Colombians, El Salvadorians, players from CONCACAF that are succeeding in playing in the MLS now. So that all happened kind of when you look at from the Beckham experience. And if you stopped watching after David Beckham got here, you're missing out on some actual good football. Like, that's just the truth of the matter. You're missing out on quality, high-level, beautiful game being played. And not every game is great. Let's not kid ourselves.
But also, how many great games, is every match day in the Premier League a great day?
I've watched too many Liverpool games where I fall asleep at halftime because it's 0-0 and there's 2 total shots on goal at half, and it finishes 0-0 with 4 total shots on goal. I'm good.
Every league is gonna give you a snooze fest at some point. Yeah. There's not every single one is like in every sport. Every sport is gonna have a game that just stinks. You know, but the question is, are you watching that game? I am. So
dude, I just see somebody do exactly what I did at a Sunday league game. Heck yeah, I'm gonna laugh at him because I got laughed at, and I'm gonna laugh at him because I know the pain. And then I'm watching a person that's getting paid, and I'm like, man, I should be able to do that, knowing full well there's no chance in the world that I'm actually doing that. But you know what? It gives me the belief that, hey, maybe I can do that. And that's why I watch lower soccer leagues.
Hey guys, this is Hector from the Insert Name FC podcast, here to tell you guys about Canadips. It is a great tasting, superior alternative to traditional dip using CBD in a way that is radical, enjoyable, and effective. It comes in 5 core flavors: wintergreen, mint, citrus, mango, and American spice. Canadips CBD is the new evolution in dip, allowing guys to enjoy great, long-lasting taste without the downsides. If you guys want to go ahead and try them out, use the code BELLYUP20 at CanadipsCBD.com. Once again, BELLYUP20 at CanadipsCBD.com, and you'll get yourself 20% off your purchase. Thank you again for Canadips for being a great partner of Belly Up Sports. Yeah, well, also just watch Salvador. It's a great time.
As long as there's no puddles on the field. Last time I watched an El Salvadorian match, it was just pure lake, and I was like, I'm good. I don't want to watch this.
Yeah, no, I mean there will be from time to time. But anyways, the whole point of me saying that is because obviously I have a certain hard-headed person that's my co-host that just doesn't watch MLS. Like, he just doesn't watch MLS. You would think now that Messi's here, he would be watching MLS. No. As a matter of fact, he still doesn't watch it because, I mean, he loves Messi. Messi is still, like, one of his favorite players of all time and all that stuff. Mind you, his favorite player of all time is Ronaldinho. But does he love Messi? Yes, he does. Like, does he have Messi shirts? He does. But he just doesn't really care too much for Inter Miami. I think he also, because I think for him it's just like he thinks it's weird that like Inter Miami can do certain things that like other MLS teams just don't do. Like, he's like, and he's asked me that, like, he's like, is it because like Inter Miami is just more has more aspirations, or is it that the other teams just don't care to make kind of those kind of bold decisions? So he's been very curious about that. Like, is it just that Miami that's able to get away with it, or is it very much so like no one else is really just has the balls to do it? And I was like,
yes and yes.
It was like, I was like, I hate Edward. Edward has like one. It's like the equivalent of when Will Ferrell took a sip of water during the debate scene in Old School. Like, all of a sudden, he just like, I was like, holy shit, that was actually a good point. Sorry for cousin Kelcey. So like, it was just like, all right, Edward has it, and Edward is also a very diehard Antoine Griezmann fan. As a matter of fact, if you ever hear Edward talk about Antoine Griezmann, he doesn't call him Antoine Griezmann. He calls him Griezzy. So Edward has given him a nickname.
Mm-hmm.
And as so people know, because this is someone that's witnessed it, Edward was always a big fan of Be a Pro in FIFA. And guess who the pro he would always play as?
Oh, yeah.
Antoine Griezmann. And so Now, I also think if this doesn't work, because Messi clearly didn't work. I forgot what the other actually I think it's only Messi.
Marco Royce. Marco
Oh,
Royce
Marco
didn't work.
Royce. I thought Marco Royce would have done it. Did not work. So my last two gambles here is either Antoine Griezmann or Robert Lewandowski. I think if those two.
What about Timo Werner? Timo Werner is going to get Edward to watch it.
Edward's just like he better score a hat trick at this point.
Look, I think Edward has to be. I think we need to have a new punishment for Edward. He has to watch every Timo Werner match until Timo scores a hat trick.
I don't even think I would wish that on my worst enemy to watch San Jose games. No offense.
I agree. I agree with you. I don't think it's worth watching, but I think it would be hilarious. It's punishment for the 3 years I've been waiting for this hat trick for Timo Werner.
Oh man, and Edward hates it. Like he hates when I play the clip. Like he just hates it. He's like, "Oh, you guys have to play it again." Anytime it's Timo Werner, like we just have to replay that clip from Unhinged FC. It's just one of those
the beautiful days.
One of the beautiful days. I might just put it in right now.
Yeah, roll the clip.
Roll the clip
for Timo Werner to finally break out. However, he has played 37 matches all year between the Premier League and Champions League for Chelsea. And he has a whopping total of 8 goals.
But maybe with Porto, all of a sudden, he'll be the hero. He'll be the one to bag in, like, let's say, in both matches, 5 goals.
No, that is a very good point. Now, I do just want to point out, if he does happen to score 5 goals over 2 matches, he will have tied his output from the Premier League alone this season. But if he does manage to score 5 goals over 2 games, I mean, that Chelsea obviously would have a fantastic turn of events. And, well, maybe we finally saw the comeuppance of Timo Werner. Going straight into it, we'll get into the predictions now, guys.
I'll give it to Porto. 2-0.
Timo Werner is about to score 5 goals in 2 games.
But not in the first leg.
But not in the first leg. No. He's going to have Porto winning 2-0 in the first leg.
Because what a time. What a moment for that word. But yeah, so maybe if Antoine Griezmann comes, will that be enough for Edward to be just like, all right, fine, I'm going to watch this game. Now, there's certain MLS games that I've gotten Edward to go. Not anything specifically. I just like, hey, Edward, I have a ticket. You want to go? He's like, okay. Bro, we watched the 2018 U.S. Open Cup final. It was Houston Dynamo versus Philadelphia Union. Edward, you know how Edward was not at all fazed by this? Was when we were talking about like all the games that Edward's been. Like Edward's undefeated at Dynamo matches.
Wow.
Whenever I go with Edward, the Dynamo win. I remember specifically when the Dynamo were really bad. I mean, really, really bad. Like, they were going against Sporting Kansas City, and I was like, oh, man, on top. And it was when Sporting Kansas City was good. Like, we're talking about Graham Zusi, Matt Beasler. Like, I was like, this team, we're going to get mollywopped. And I remember I was like, hey, Edward, I have a ticket. You want to come with me? He's like, yeah, sure. This was the Dynamo's first win in the season. The first win of the season. Edward was there. I was like, at this point, I was like, dude, this can't be a coincidence anymore. Like Edward is just the good luck charm for the Dynamo. It's just that he's not a Dynamo fan at all.
We need to call the Dynamo front office. We have your lucky charm. His name is Edward. You need to give him tickets to every game.
There's an episode that we were talking about that, and Edward. This is how you know Edward was so checked out of that game. He thought we lost. He's
Edward,
like,
I love you. I bless your heart.
He was just like, oh yeah, I remember I went to that game and we lost. I was like, what do you mean we lifted the trophy? He's like, oh shit, that's right. Edward was so he's so checked out of MLS games that he forgot what was the result of the game.
I want to see. Okay, so here's the dream, right? If Griezmann doesn't work by himself, Griezmann and Lewandowski on the same team playing against Messi, and hopefully somebody else comes to the MLS at that point in time for Miami. And now you have 2 superstars that he loves on one side and 2 superstars, or at least a Messi on the other side that he loves. And that'd be I think that's got to be the magic potion to get him to go.
It's got to be either Griezmann or Lewandowski. One of those two has to get. Like I told Edward, I don't even care if you're not a Dynamo fan. Like just care for MLS. Like I just want him to care about MLS at some point.
Don't pick a team. You don't even have to pick a team. Just enjoy the good games.
At this point, I don't know if I just need to start training his kids to like become like good soccer players, and they get into an academy.
There you go. Oh, that's a brilliant. Hey,
that might be my last like my fail safe. Like if all else fails, it's just all of a sudden become like a competent coach.
just don't take him to tennis courts, as we've learned. The old logo from Unhinged FC. Tear a hamstring. Oh, you're at it.
I've been working out lately. I think, as a matter of fact, I just lost 3 pounds. I don't think I have the leg. I definitely do not have the leg reach, but I don't think I've advanced. I think I've actually like to the point where I've been now at exercising. I think I'm back to now where I was that day. So
progress.
That is progress, I think. But yeah. So we'll see. Because like once again, if this doesn't work, I might just have to be like more involved with my godsons and just hope that one of them gets an MLS academy spot. And
if you need goalkeeper training, I had my goalkeeper license for many years, so
yeah,
I can re-up my license and we can go back to I can help coach the kids to be one of them to be a great keeper.
I might have to recruit some of the Dynamo Academy kids. Like I mean, Matthew Arana just made his debut with the Dynamo this past weekend. Youngest player, first 2010 player to play in the MLS. So
I already feel old.
Yeah. Imagine me that got to see him playing U14s and just like, this kid's our best player. And then when I saw him out there, I was like, oh shit, this kid is our best player.
This kid's our best player? Oh, wait. Yeah, I guess he is.
Wow. That kid? The hyperactive one?
Oh, that should be your first sign then. Of course he's the best player. Dude's like, full of energy.
Kid doesn't even want to watch, like he's watching film, but then he's just like on his phone, like looking at something. That was funny. And I was like, he's right though. It is pretty funny. That guy's a pro.
That guy is a pro.
I love that kid. But we'll see, man. Maybe this is enough to get everyone to watch MLS. If not, then I guess I gotta start working on my USFF licenses to make things happen. But all right, Kelcey, the final headline is also involving MLS, and obviously this is something that we all know. Don Garber will be leaving, will be stepping down as the MLS commissioner at the end of 2027. Look, when he took over, he's not a soccer guy, but when he came in, obviously with the help of Robert Kraft, which never thought I would be able to say that sentence, but with the help of Robert Kraft and some of the owners, they talked to Don Garber, I believe was working in the NFL at the time, to step into Major League Soccer and try to keep this league afloat. And that he did. Say what you want about Don Garber. I think eventually he became a soccer guy. And I think he's done great things with this league. Are there still some crazy things, some very questionable decisions that he did with the league? Of course. But I think near the end, I think he helped progress MLS to where now we have Lionel Messi in this league, and now we're going to start doing things, I don't want to say it like that, but the proper way. So I hate using that term, but I mean, obviously it would be proper. I mean, now we have academy systems. Now we have, put air quotes on that one, but
we have academy adjacent things.
We have academy adjacent things. We have a player pathway now. We have
quotation marks around the player pathway too.
Yeah, quotation marks. I mean, the Dynamo finally just played a 15-year-old. Like that. I say what you want. There's been other 15-year-olds that probably should have got a shot as well. But I mean, I'm happy that it's Matthew Arana. But still, there's like other academy players that definitely should be playing for the Dynamo right now. But that's my 2 cents right there. And it's okay. I can say it because I mean I'm never gonna get hired by the Dynamo. What are they gonna do? Not hire me?
Oh man, touche.
Watch as I say this, Pat Onstad was like, I was really thinking about hiring him again.
You're gonna get a text and be like, it's just say Pat Onstad, sorry, we're not hiring you anymore. What? But dang it.
I wonder if I'm still on his contact list, by the way. I have his number. I don't think I should ever call it, but Maybe one day if I'm like really hammered and really petty, I wouldn't.
Maybe you just when you get those USSF license up, you can just be like, yo, Pat, you need a kit man and a coach? I got you.
I got these twin boys.
Look, I got this deal on some kids that I swear they're going to be the best 13-year-olds you're ever going to play.
Just give me like 5% discovery.
5% on all future MLS earnings, please.
But yeah, so obviously he's stepping down, and obviously MLS needs to start doing all the things that they need to do in preparation of finding the next commissioner for Major League Soccer. And when if you've ever are familiar with just American sports in general, for some reason they just have this obsession with hiring a search firm. And it's like before we get into this company specifically, but for some reason for me, in my experience, when a team goes into to go look for a general manager, a coach, and when they do the search firm, I have learned that they have never listened to the search firm. And the only reason why I say that is because I'm a Houston Texans fan, and when they did their search firm, they literally said, "Let's pick this guy." The Texans said, "Let's go get Jack Easterby." So,
yeah, no, I have a love-hate relationship with sports when they find these type of people. When they go to find these type of
also
roles.
we should mention U.S. Soccer that did a search committee for a new coach after they let go of Greg Berhalter, only to then rehire Greg Berhalter, which the committee did not approve, did not even recommend Greg Berhalter. So.
It's funny to me because they always choose non-sports related search firms. They choose business executive search firms, and they do matter. It is a completely different ballgame. Like, you have to be in the sports world to be a good head of a league, or you have to be sports associated, meaning have to have it in your background in some way, shape, or form, or have it, any experience whatsoever in the role. Now, there's been a few exceptions when you talk about like player associations and presidents of players associations. I think that the NHL is one of them. That, he maybe wasn't a NHL player, but you know what? He was a guy that's been in the labor movement for a long time, and so he got moved in the player association to represent the players. Like, that's cool. He's a diehard hockey fan. That kind of needs to be the same vibe. If you go somebody that's not already associated with the league, he or she has got to be a sports fanatic. They've got to be a soccer fanatic. They've got to be an MLS fan. And I think that's an important thing that you got to look for in this new age. And Don Garber did a great job. He expanded to Canada. He got soccer-specific stadiums into America. You mentioned the youth academies. We had full buy-in for the Open Cup some years. And there's, different things that he brought in, salary cap conversations, DPs, things like that have expanded the game, which is great. But the next step for the MLS has to be finding somebody who is actually a soccer fan, who's an American soccer fan, who's an MLS fan, who wants to see the game within the country really grow and not just sustain. Because when Garber took over, like you said, it was 99. MLS had just I don't even know what to describe the game in 99 when it was being played in the MLS. That was, if we've all seen the clips of the old PK systems, that was what they were doing to keep people in the stands. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, they would roll the ball from midfield and let them attack each other one-on-one that way instead of actually taking a PK, which is...
It was a penalty shootout.
Yeah, something. Shootout. It was a joke. But anyways,
which, I'm all for it for All-Star. Do that.
Yeah,
for
All-Star's fine. Okay, yeah, All-Star's fine, but not in a game. That was stupid.
Not in a game. Yeah.
And that was what they were doing to keep people in the stands. Garber turned that around, made it huge. The only soccer-specific stadium when he got there was Columbus, and that's been they've got a new stadium in that time. And once Miami opens up their new stadium, that'll be, I think every major team has a soccer-specific stadium at that point in time, other than maybe New York. But that's the only one. And
they should be getting a new stadium pretty soon.
Yeah, they should. But, the next person has to come in and actually care about the sport and care about what it means for the future of American football, American soccer. And that's where I look at this as search firm's fine, but is it the right type of search firm? Are we getting the same search firm that gave us Greg Berhalter again? Or are you getting the search firm that brought in somebody like Joachim Low into the Germany national team? What are we getting a search team for this? Because I need to know before I support it or I get really mad about it. Because right now it feels like they're looking for an executive.
I think the funny thing about the whole Greg Berhalter thing was, well, at least for me, was just that I actually, as a matter of fact, I think the search firm did not recommend Greg Berhalter.
Yeah, they recommended going anywhere else.
And they were like, anybody but Greg. Well, they didn't even put Greg Berhalter. They didn't even consider Greg Berhalter because it was like, why would you rehire the guy you just fired, or you just let go? Why would you do that? And it turns out that, very valid point, because you ended up getting Pochettino at the end of it all. But yeah, so Corn Ferry is the name of the search firm, and I think it's hilarious that it's Corn with a K.
Also, golf tour sponsors. So they're executive related, but they are golf related, which I don't know if that transitions into soccer, but I'll leave it alone.
So Corn Ferry is the world's leading executive search firm with an extensive record of placing successful long-term hires. Okay, that's it. That's all I can get. Yeah,
no, but they are sponsoring. They sponsor the Corn Ferry World Tour, which I believe is the LPGA or old people PGA.
Probably know better than me, but yeah. So
or is that that's the training tour. That's the lower tier tour.
But yeah, so Corn Ferry are the people that are essentially looking at all the potential candidates that could be worthy of being the next MLS commissioner. Now, whoever comes into this role of the MLS commissioner has already 3 really big ones that they have to deal with, and that is going to be a new collective bargaining agreement, which that could either lead to maybe an increase in salary cap for all the MLS teams, maybe changes with the DP, maybe they remove the DP and they remove the salary cap and just let this become the Wild Wild West, and just if you have it kind of thing. Obviously, also things that the players would want. It's also going to be a big thing with the Players Association, making sure the players' needs are being addressed. So those are some big things that are going to happen with that collective bargaining agreement. The other thing is like Apple TV. Now, if you guys don't really have like Apple TV and you guys don't really watch MLS games like I do, and I think Kelcey probably heard that rant that I made with Apple TV, which was I was not planning on resubscribing to Apple TV. If you guys didn't know, you had to buy another package in Apple TV. So while also having Apple, well, actually no, you didn't even need to have Apple TV. But if you wanted to watch MLS games, you needed to have that package from Apple TV in order to watch it. And as a matter of fact, I sent when they had me like do like a review of like MLS Plus on Apple TV with they were like, oh, share us your thoughts on this thing. I sent them like a whole essay. Like it was like I just was not a fan of this thing. Besides being able to watch all the MLS games, there was nothing else that I liked about it. There was no content on these MLS teams. MLS Onside was interesting, but that wasn't even an MLS Plus thing. It was actually an Apple TV thing, which that pissed me off because I was like, what's the point of using? I mean, it was great that they were promoting this, and it was cool to watch, essentially like see what was going on, during the season that we all saw, but only to find out it was just regular Apple TV provided me. That was just like, to me, it was just a giant fuck you. Sorry for cussing, Kelcey. Because once again, I'm spending like almost $100 for this access, and I mean, I can feel for somebody that just wants to watch, like maybe Kelcey just doesn't care about all the other teams, and just wants to watch the San Jose Earthquakes. Like, why
Atlanta? I'd probably watch Atlanta. I'll be honest.
Okay. Yeah, or maybe he wants to watch Atlanta. Like, wants to see Latte Law finally live up to that $22 million transfer fee. Like that. Like, but no, he has to get the package and just watch all the MLS teams. Like there's no in between on that one. But now, obviously, just a regular Apple TV subscription. Now you have access to the MLS games. But with all that saying, that they did come with cuts. They removed the Spanish not Spanish broadcast, but the Spanish like pregame thing. Which, I mean, take it or leave it. Maybe some people liked it, some people didn't. I actually watched the Spanish one mainly just because like working on my Spanish, so that's the only real reason why. I do watch the I do listen through the Spanish broadcast, and that's just because, like, no offense to English speakers, I just don't get the same umph from versus the Spanish broadcast.
American announcers suck.
I would even go as far as the British. So
yeah, 85% of British announcers suck.
Unless your name is not Jesus Christ, how am I drawing a blank on the goat?
The guy in FIFA?
No, not that guy. Go, fuck that guy. Sorry for cussing, Kelcey. Bro, oh my god, it's magisterial. How am I drawing a blank on this dude? Like, he literally follows me on Twitter. I'm gonna hate myself for not remembering this guy's name. Ray Hudson.
Ray Hudson, yeah. Okay.
Unless your name is Ray Hudson, I'm probably not gonna listen to your broadcast. And he's retired now, so I have no reason to listen to any of the English broadcasts. No offense. I think, Premier League, honestly, like, most of the time I just have it, like, on low volume with the Premier League, and I just, like, watch the game. I don't really care too much for the commentary. But if I can watch in Spanish, I'm going to watch in Spanish. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, so they cut off a lot of the people as far as, like, the coverage for the league, just because, obviously, Apple TV is losing money. And no one's, like, this isn't, like, news to anybody, right? Apple TV has been losing money from the MLS from the get-go. They don't even show the ratings anymore, and now this season you're starting to see matches that are going to be not only played on other channels, but Apple TV is now open to the public as far as with the Apple TV subscription. So that should tell you a lot about what's going on with Apple TV. And I mean, come 2029, that contract is going to be up. So that's another thing that the new commissioner is going to have to deal with. Where are you going to have your coverage? Who's going to be doing your coverage for you? Will you be going back with Apple TV? Are you going to do ESPN? Are you going to go into, like, letting them have their own broadcast channels? You know, that is going to be an interesting endeavor. Are you going to create MLS Plus? Like, you know, this is some things that are going to be interesting one. But on top of that, it is the follow-up after the World Cup. And that's really the big thing, because you're going into the new format. This new commissioner is going to be in with the new format of Major League Soccer, which is obviously now going from a fall-spring, no longer a spring-fall calendar.
Mm-hmm.
So this is all things that I would say is pretty big for the new MLS commissioner to do. And I will tell you, like Kelcey said, we need someone that is going to be about the game, not so much the business side. I think Don Garber has covered the business side well enough. I mean, yes, this commissioner is going to have to focus on that as well, but I think right now it's about growing the game and growing the game so that we get more people, more eyes on Major League Soccer.
Yeah. It's not an easy thing, right? Like you said, it's going to be a kind of multifaceted tier plan in that for the first year, like literally year one of this conversation with the new MLS commissioner is, all right, here you go. Here's your firing squad. You gotta survive this. Good luck. But I look at that collective bargaining agreement is going to be a very interesting one, because that's also going to be negotiating the international transfer windows as well for the players, and what that means for players that get selected for the international teams, what their leave looks like. And with the change in window for the season, that changes how that international windows and what international windows are going to be selected for the MLS. Because if you remember, we've always had the January transfer window in the MLS. Not a lot of other countries have that because it's so late. Or not transfer window, international break for the MLS. Or international camp for the U.S. men's national team. Sorry, there we go. I got it eventually.
Camp Cupcake.
Yeah, Camp Cupcake. So not a lot of other countries have that. Like you said, Camp Cupcake is a perfect example. They don't get that opportunity. So that's something that you look at as like that's going to be in the negotiation period. And then you talk Apple. Honestly, I wouldn't even have an Apple TV subscription if it wasn't for Ted Lasso and the new season coming out at some point in time. Honestly, only reason I still have Apple TV. So
I'm actually a big fan of Severance and Shrinking. Shrinking is also a pretty good show.
That's fair. I don't hate it. Like, I don't hate the TV. I paid for it last year for MLS Plus. I didn't like it. I thought that was a waste of money, and probably not going to pay for it this year. I'll be honest. I'm just not
For MLS Plus or just Apple TV in general?
MLS Plus.
There's no MLS Plus now. It's just Apple TV. But.
That's the point. It was like I wasn't even going to pay for it anyways before they announced it, so I was like, I don't care. So that's the only reason I have Apple Plus. It was Ted Lasso, and it just so happens now I get to watch all the MLS matches. So cool, we're good. But yeah, they got to go somewhere back. That's terrestrial stations. You see it happening with baseball. You can't find a baseball game on TV other than ESPN nowadays, because they all have these subscription-based TV channels. That doesn't work. The NFL proved that doesn't work. You just get it on YouTube TV, which is all the terrestrial channels, and they're literally every game you can watch through NFL Sunday Ticket. People will pay for YouTube TV. They'll pay for Sunday Ticket. They'll pay for all of that because they can watch every game on something they already have. And yes, it does cost extra money, but at the same time, you're getting a lot more value for that. Like MLS, you got to pitch this better where people already are. You can't just try to create something from nothing. And that's where they struggle. And that's going to be, you talk the business aspect, that's something you got to focus on in the business. But the team, the game, you got to focus on those players. That's going to be tough. The change in schedule, the change in CBA, those are all going to be negotiating things that you got to give a little more than Don Garber ever gave to the players. And that's going to be tough because the owners are who they are. They're NFL owners. They don't very willingly give over their rights to teams or to their players very well. So that's all going to be conversation that has to happen. But commissioner's going to have to walk that fine line of being a owner commissioner, a business commissioner, and a player commissioner. And that's not an easy thing to do. Not everybody can do that. So...
No, yeah, that's going to be the real challenge right there. But I'll be intrigued. Like, honestly, like, I think, where MLS is going, I think it's going into a good place. I think it's going to be very important who's going to be that, and you really can't say leader, because I don't think that's what the commissioner is there. Like, he's there more so to...
Well, maybe we do need a leader, though. Maybe we don't need a Don Garber anymore.
Well, the only reason why I say that is because obviously, like, things that Eric Winalda says, like, the commissioner, he isn't the leader of the league. He's the guy that works for the owners. Like, so that's kind of what I meant. But I mean, yeah, it's gonna be a guy that's like, hey, look, we've been doing it like this for quite some time, and while it's all fine and dandy, like, that's not enough. We need to grow this game. We need to start doing things right, the right way. Like, there's a reason why the rest of the world is able to be better with player development. We need to start developing our own homegrown players. We need to start using our own homegrown players. And I think that we just need, like, someone that understands that part and to just finally grow the game right in the U.S. Because I think at the end of the day, until we get that, like, and honestly, the hardest part of it all, which is something that I've said many times about MLS, their job is to get the American that just likes soccer but doesn't like MLS, but also the American that doesn't watch soccer.
Yeah.
How do you find a good in between? And honestly, I think Major League Soccer has it right, because with the playoff format, it's a format that is very familiar to all Americans, not even just the Americans that like soccer.
It's almost there.
It's almost there. The playoff format sucks. And also there's too many teams. But I think that, with that, and then will we finally have someone that says we need to have promotion relegation? I think that's going to be another one. Do I think it's the most important thing? No. But I do think that at some point, especially with all the teams that you keep trying to add in this league, you're going to have the conversation of promotion relegation. Not this, we're going to have an East League and a West League. No. Like, legitimately, this is MLS 1. This is Major League Soccer. This is whatever the hell you want to call the USL. So, which, by the way, we talked about the USL with the whole promotion relegation thing. Is it working? Kind of, but obviously it's not a great look when your championship game you have players speaking out like, all right, promotion rel is cool, pro rel is cool and all, but like improve our living situations first.
Yeah.
So
at the end of the day, right? Like USL has to deal with the contract situation because they don't get the love that the MLS. They don't have the USL has a lot of operational, like, team focused things, but they don't have a lot of operational player focused things. Like, they have a way to bring in fans in the USL, and it's because they're homegrown, they're low cost, they're bought into the community, because a lot of them are community funded. I mean, I think of Nashville SC as one of those teams that like they became a USL Pro team because of the funding. And then they ended up, now they're in the MLS. But you have teams, and then like Chattanooga, right? Those teams end up in those top levels because of funding. Las Vegas Lights, the main, not Lumberjacks, Green Mountain, something like that, Vermont. Those guys, they all end up getting community support, and they're well funded, and they're the ones that are better off. But then there's not a league sanctioned CBA for players. And that's where like the MLS has it going. They had a Don Garber in place to do that part, but they didn't have a Don Garber. They didn't have what the USL has in place to do the other pieces of it. So I think the MLS needs to start, and that's something that a conversation for the new commissioner, maybe stop operating in a bubble and start operating in a community with the other soccer divisions in America, which is what happened in England. The reason the English Premier League is on top of the table is because owners got together and like, hey, let's create a new league. It's no longer going to be the English League Championship. We're going to create the English Premier League. We have sponsors involved, and you're going to try to strive for getting to the EPL. And that's what they did. And the MLS can be the EPL of America. They can be that, but they have to stop working in a bubble at the end of the day. And so, hey, yeah, I think it's an opportunity. I'm all here for promotion relegation. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen the change in cycle. It's going to definitely take 10, 20 years. But I think in our lifetime, we'll see it in America, which would be good.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And so it'll be interesting to see what that new commissioner does. Whenever they announce it, I will be very much intrigued who it is. I don't really know who it is. I mean, first of all, I don't even know how to rate a commissioner, so I can't give you my recommendation. So
it's all business, and it's like, this is the thing, man. They're going to look for a business executive. They're not going to go. They're looking at the top 4 positions for every sports related agency in America. Every sports related organization in America is getting looked at right now, and they're being scalped. Is what they're looking. There's headhunters trying to scalp their best talent, and that's how you're going to end up with a commissioner. That's how Don Garber ended up in the MLS, except for he had a really good relationship with the Kraft family, and so that was his way in. Like, it's going to be something like that. Unfortunately, it's not going to be an ex-player. It's not going to be an ex-owner, anything like that.
Yeah, more than likely, that's probably it. But all right, guys, that is headlines. We're going to take a quick break, and then you're going to hear me and John from the Pitch Grid talk Champions League. So be ready for that. But this isn't the last you'll see Kelcey over here, because obviously we have a great new closing segment now on the show. So we'll see what card we get for Give and Go. So you'll still have Kelcey there.
Yay!
I love soccer, Peggy.
All right, guys, we got Champions League going on, but of course we have a special guest from the Pitch Grid Pod, John. I'm excited to have you on, man. You've been pretty active when it comes to content. You're a little bit interesting because you're obviously your podcast, the Pitch Grid, which obviously is a play on for obviously the field. But you cover both football, American football and obviously footy. So obviously, new guest. First thing that we always ask everybody whenever anyone comes onto the show is, what got you into football? And we're talking about our football, not American football. What got you into football?
For sure. I've been a fan of MLS for a long time. I remember picking up a book we had randomly in my parents' house about MLS and reading about Landon Donovan and Beckham and being interested. And I lived in the Kansas City area, so I picked Sporting KC as my team, and I just followed them for a long time. And a few years ago, I started getting into English football, picked Middlesbrough as my team, and I just did a ton of research, and I just got captivated by the club nature of footy, and it just is gripped my attention so much. And I love like documentaries like the All or Nothing series or Sunderland Till I Die, stuff like that, you know. And those are just fun to watch, and it just I got fully immersed, and it's kind of why I started the Pitch Grid, actually. So, yeah.
And I mean, just talk about the Pitch Grid a little bit. What got you into, first of all, wanting to get into this world of awkwardly putting yourself in front of a mic or a camera, depending on what you're doing. Awkwardly putting out your takes, whether or not people are gonna like them or not. But Also, I would say props to you, Middlesbrough. That's I think, look, I know I'm a coward for picking Real Madrid. I know it, but like at the same time, also at one point I thought I was Brazilian as well. So I take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But you obviously, I think you were in a different situation, whereas I was like straight up a child. I was a big R9 fan. That's how I became a Madridista. And I know R9 at one point played for Barcelona, but this is once again dumb kid brain. Real Madrid became my club. But you were more learning about MLS, and then obviously as you're researching clubs, which I think this is probably like the real way people should be finding their clubs is by kind of how you did, which you saw Middlesbrough, you learned a little bit about them, and you're like, I like this team. And I think it's a respectable team, obviously, because they play in the lower ranks in England, and whenever they do at some point get up into the Prem, I bet you that's gonna be super satisfying for yourself. So I say props to that, tip of the cap to you. Can I do that? Absolutely not. But but yeah, like talk about a little bit about the pitch grid. What got you into it? What got you into making the pitch grid, and where you are now?
So interesting you say that, because my research of these clubs actually got me to making the pitch grid. My original intent for the pitch grid, and I realized this was incredibly ambitious, but I wanted to make a documentary like style interviews of different fans of the club, each club in the championship. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to make like, okay, what does the club mean to you? Tell the club's history, explain it to Americans. Because I really feel like most Americans are familiar with the franchise concept, and they don't understand why we footy fans love soccer, why we are just so committed to our clubs, why that means so much to us, and they don't understand the club concept. And I feel like I wanted to communicate that through visual, and being an American myself might give it some perspective, and bring some perspective to football. And I'm like, well, I could bring NFL into this, and maybe eventually when I get a little bigger I can do this project, because it's a massive project. Mm-hmm. And obviously that changes every year, of course, but getting people familiar with the lower leagues, I feel like, is not something we do often here in the States, because of course Premier League is the craze, right? Mm-hmm. All the brands, all Manchester City, Manchester United, and again, not ragging on Real Madrid, because they are an incredible team with rich history, but Real Madrid, Barcelona, stuff like that.
I kind of envy you. I kind of envy you a little bit, because you can just watch El Clasico just to watch El Clasico. Like you're not like emotional. Like I was literally unbearable to deal with when Real Madrid lost. The Spanish Super Cup, which is a trophy that I constantly say I could give a rat's ass about. But like, right. But it's the fact that losing to Barcelona just overall just sucks to me. And so like I envy guys like you, because like obviously not saying that maybe there is going to be a day where Middlesbrough does compete in Champions League. There might be that day when, obviously maybe some oil money comes your way. But the thing that I think that's interesting with you is that you can actually just watch the game and enjoy it for what it is when you're talking about the top flights. And obviously, like I said, the day that Middlesbrough gets into the top flight is going to be the best thing ever for you. But for right now, you literally can just enjoy the cup finals as a spectator of the sport. Whether I'm just in like a glass box of emotions. So I just want to.
Yeah, it's interesting. My first seminal moment as a Borough fan, like that I knew that I loved this game, I loved this team, was when Hayden Hackney scored the first goal that won us the first leg against Chelsea in the League Cup semifinal. Mm-hmm. Like I was running around this house screaming.
Hey man, it's about those moments, man. And I think that's the best part about when someone that roots for the championship sides, especially I think the fan bases are probably a little bit more like welcoming to people that are because it takes a lot for you to find Middlesbrough. I think for starters, mm-hmm. Whereas for me, for Real Madrid, it's literally plastered everywhere. So I think I think that there's like obviously that's community based, right? When you talk about the lower division, it's community based. Are the stadiums the sexiest? Not necessarily, but it's very home like, and I think that that's where versus the clubs, which the big clubs, the big sixes, whatever you want to call them, you call the franchise, right? Because that's basically what they become now. Like now they're money based. Maybe they're not so much about the home fans. Obviously, Real Madrid, they go to Saudi Arabia, they go to Japan, they go to the U.S. not because they want to go there. They just go there because that's where the money takes them. Whereas Middlesbrough, it is a community based thing, and it's all about the community. You can, and I mean, say what you want with Wrexham, but I mean Wrexham, props to those guys over there with Robin and Ryan Reynolds. They're building it through the community. Like that's another thing about that that's really cool, and I'm really intrigued what's going to happen with Ivan Longoria and Necaxa over there in Mexico as well. But
and even Brady and Birmingham City too, like they're building the same way. And I've got a fan who's a Brummie, like he loves it. Like he's like bring the American influence over here. We want this, and it's incredible just to see how excited it makes him after so many years of Birmingham having so much disappointment. So it's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, Wrexham people can just one day see Will Ferrell just randomly go into their stadium. So I mean, like it's a cool experience, and I think that's really cool. But yeah, going back to the pitch grid, like you said, the goal is to make this project where you can kind of do like your own docuseries, if you will, of following like these smaller clubs. But yeah, I mean, as you're going, where would you say where you're at right now with the pitch grid? Like, are you still like early stages, or what's
early stages. It'll be season 2 by the time. Well, this will be my second full off season covering NFL and soccer. And it's early stages, nothing, huge or anything, but like to me, I'm not paying attention. This is a hobby for me. I'm not paying attention to numbers, but I just want to help others enjoy soccer, enjoy NFL, but not like, oh, well, he's going to cover the typical topics. He's going to cover, I want to find the stories that not like that ESPN's not going to talk about on a daily basis, right? I want to give some people something different, and it's on my bio, perspective. I really try to preach that in my own personal life, and it's kind of bled into the podcast. I want to give takes with perspective, like, oh, well, I can see it this way, but also I can see it both ways, argue both sides and make it different. And I appreciate it's why I really appreciate like Bodo Glimt. Like we're going to talk about the Champions League in a minute, and it's why I really appreciate Bodo Glimt.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely get to them at some point. But yeah, man, Champions League. This is now the second year of the new format, right? The league table format. Then obviously first to eighth automatic qualifiers to the round of 16, and then ninth to all the way down to 24th. They have to do a playoff round to get into the round of 16. There's really nothing we can take from this. Obviously, last year PSG probably all can say was a complete embarrassment in the league stage, and then just gets into those little finals. I don't even think they were really that high to begin with going into that last season. Next thing you know, they go on a run and win the Champions League very easily, by the way. And I think so. That's like the things that like there's no real like at this point no one knows really the strategy because it's all new to everybody. It's very much anyone's game. It just depends on how your form is going into these matches. So really, could this be an advantage? Maybe, but is it also? No one really knows because this is the second year. But as far as your perspective, obviously you got to see the change of the Champions League. Obviously you follow Champions League just as much as anybody else does. How do you view now going into the second year of this format now for Champions League?
It's interesting you bring that up because like I've kind of started viewing this like the NFL playoffs. Like, oh, you might not be looking really great coming in as the 7th seed, but all of a sudden you get in there and you have a chance, regardless of form, because it goes out the window at that point, right? We had the league format, and of course, like we didn't expect, for example, like Benfica to have to scrape by to get in, right? Like they had to use the goalkeeper to beat Real Madrid, for goodness sake, and get into into this round. But like,
thanks for reminding me.
I'm sorry that's the first thing that came to my mind.
No. But I mean that's those are the things why we watch this game is like Benfica needed to win by 2 goals to move to get into that last spot in the playoff round, and they did it against all teams against Real Madrid. So like I mean this is kind of the things of Champions League that's what we love is like these dramatic finishes to matches that a David does in fact beat a Goliath. Maybe
it gives us stories that we wouldn't have seen in the other Champions League format. Like the other format, the groups, it really just it was like, oh, okay, well, this team's definitely going to win this group. Like, there's no way they're going to lose this, or it's kind of what we see with the World Cup right now, kind of too. It feels like, except it's more World Cup's more unpredictable because it's nations, but like with teams like Bayern. You're going to go into a group with like Bayern, Sporting, and then Karabakh and Newcastle. And like, oh, Bayern's going to win this handily.
And I mean, in this format, last year Liverpool went undefeated, finished on top of the league, and they get shellacked by PSG.
Yeah, exactly. You had that incredible game with Manchester United and Lyon last year. Like that was peak footy. Like that was one of the best games of last year, honestly. And that was in the Conference League. But still, it kind of reminds you of like what can happen in this type of format. And I don't know. To me, it's just I kind of enjoy it as the American who likes the playoff experience. I'm more used to that, obviously. But at the same time, I can understand also as probably someone from like your perspective, this feels different. It feels weird, and it feels uncertain and unpredictable. And I can see why it might be a little different. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I think one UEFA did this because obviously with the whole European Super League, which by the way, thank God it's finally dead.
Yes.
I don't know why Real Madrid and Barcelona were trying so long to keep that going. It was literally just those two. And Barcelona finally dipped out, and Real Madrid, I think, have finally cut their ties. But that was essentially because I mean, the whole reason for the Europa Super League, European Super League, whatever, that stupid competition, the whole point of it, this is the format. This was the format that was being presented for the European Super League. And so UEFA was like, let's just do it. Let's just make this format. And I think, obviously, the main objective is to protect the big clubs, right? To get the big clubs into those knockout rounds, because obviously the potential group of death, which I still, by the way, one of my favorite groups of death of all time was still, I think it was Newcastle United, PSG, Borussia Dortmund, and I believe AC Milan. And I just chuckled because it was like, I was really hoping that PSG and Newcastle United got in that group. And as soon as they did, I was like, this is the best day ever. Like, because I especially because it's like Newcastle United and PSG with all the money that they have, which I know I sound like a hypocrite for saying that, but royalty money, not oil money. But
right.
Those matter. But yeah, so I mean, like the thing that I liked about this, and really enough, it does still open up to those smaller. Well, now I don't want to say smaller because they are obviously qualified by being champions of their leagues. You mentioned Bodo Glimt, a team that had to qualify to get in here, being in very few qualifier spots to begin with for a league especially in the Norwegian league. So I mean, like those things are important. I mean, this gives them a shot too, because it's like you're gonna play against 2 D-rated, clubs, 2 C-rated clubs, and et cetera, till you get to A. So you still have an open chance. All you have to do is just win as much games as you can, get into that 24. Just get above 24 and you're in this competition. And I think that it still opens this up. It opens up to be anybody's game. Like, I don't think that there's necessarily like a right or wrong way of winning this competition. I think we've learned now that maybe it's not important to be undefeated in this, at least in this phase of the league. Arsenal, I'm looking at you.
Exactly.
So like, I mean, Inter Milan last year was the best defense in the entire competition and got completely mollywopped by PSG. So like, it's things that really maybe in hindsight sounded like it mattered doesn't really matter. And I think it's any given chance, right? Any match can be different. I mean, we saw Benfica have like one of the greatest upsets in Champions League history, being especially when it came down to their goalkeeper. So I think that this opens up, and obviously I'm an American. I watch American sports just as much as everybody else does. So yeah, the playoff atmosphere does become exciting. I think the playoff round, I don't know why they don't just want to call it something else, but that's what they want to call it. It's still exciting because it's like, well, the team that should be higher seeded should be able to handle their matchup, and the key word should, but honestly, that did not seem to be the case this time around.
Right, and also it gives the smaller clubs. I don't know how much you played Football Manager, but like it gives me the perspective too, because I got addicted to Football Manager a few years ago when I started getting into club football.
I mean, who didn't?
and like it makes me think like, oh, Carabag is going to get like a huge chunk of money. Imagine how much this is going to help the club and the local area. Bodo Glimt, they're getting just this far to the last 16. That's a hefty paycheck. And like we all know like how much that paycheck can help in a Football Manager. Just think about how it can help in real life for a club.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially for them. I mean, you mentioned Carabag. I mean, you're getting Newcastle United fans coming in to use their hotels, go to their restaurants. Like, they're not just staying there for like flying in and then leaving the next day. Like, they're gonna stay there for a while to go watch this matchup. So I think that, yeah, like it does help the small clubs. So I think, weirdly enough, like the whole point of this was to keep the big clubs happy, that they still get their precious money. But in all actuality, it benefited a lot of the smaller teams, and that I think is important in its own way.
Exactly. Yeah.
But all right, that's all like the nitty gritty about at least the Champions League. But we're gonna go right into each playoff round and recap it. All right, so the first matchup we're gonna talk about is Galatasaray beating the old lady Juventus 7-5 on aggregate. The first leg was a 5-2 victory for Galatasaray, and even though in the second leg they did lose 2-3, it really didn't matter at that point. It was a tremendous lead for Galatasaray. Juventus is just, I don't know what's going on with this club. I think after they've been dealt with a lot of financial fair play penalties over the years, this was, I think, getting beat by Galatasaray, which in their own right, a really strong team in Turkey. Obviously, you got Victor Osimhen leading the front over there as well. What is going on with Juventus? Like, this is a major drop off for them at this point.
Well, yeah, obviously, like this is not the Juve we would have seen. Even 5 years ago, probably. And I think the bigger question also is what's happening in Serie A, and what's happening to the dominance of the Serie A. Is it even a top 5 league in Europe now? That feels weird to say, but like it feels like a legitimate question after, we're going to get to them in a bit, but Atalanta, is the only Italian team in the last 16, right? Like, I think like we would have expected Inter Milan and Juventus even 2 years ago to make the last 16 of the Champions League. So yeah, I feel like I don't know if you watch Macwell at all, but he made a great, interesting little documentary on Italian football, and the older player, they just have a lot of older players, and they depend on the money. And when they don't have that money in Italian football, and it's slowly draining out, it's gonna cost them, and it's finally catching up to them. The big owners there in Italy, and of course they had the whole scandal a while back with the one on the documentary on Netflix. I forget exactly his name.
Oh, the referee.
But yeah, the referees, yeah, and all that. And it's finally, I just think everything's just catching up to Juventus now, and they just can't cope with it. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, obviously at one point Juventus was Bayern Munich to this league. Like, you got to think about it, for a good chunk of time, kind of pre-COVID, essentially. Inter Milan, a shell of themselves. AC Milan, massive shell of themselves. To the point where clubs like Atalanta, which you just mentioned, kind of risen, maybe not necessarily being a better team, but just a well-ran team, where they're now competing and qualifying for Champions League. But Juventus was the team that was just like, oh, that's a nice Italian player. Let me take him from your club. I mean, and they still kind of do it. They've been poaching managers from other clubs in the Serie A. But I think at this point it's just that they kind of, to me, I feel like they just kind of coasted and then didn't anticipate Inter Milan's return. They didn't anticipate AC Milan's. I know AC Milan's return is maybe not the best way to say it right now, but well, they're definitely looking better now this season. But AC Milan is starting to kind of slowly get back into it. And I think with Inter Milan and AC Milan, they've been more aggressive when it comes to getting players that are more on the younger side. I think Juve has still been sticking with the whole using the term old lady a little too seriously, because they are going after guys that at once upon a time were really great. But like, I mean, who is it right now? Their striker right now. I'm drawing a blank on his name, but at one point was like supposed to be linked to go to Arsenal.
Yeah, that's right. Doesn't Weah play? No, Weah doesn't play in Juventus, surely.
No, he's currently on loan to Marseille.
That's right.
No, but Weston McKennie, I believe, just signed a new contract extension, or is
supposed to. That's right. I knew it was some U.S. men's national team player.
Yeah, so Weston McKennie, he's supposed to be signing a new contract. I don't know if it's official yet, but because there was like a whole contract dispute with him, and it's kind of funny because he's actually now one of the longest tenured Juventus players now, because just of all the changes that's been going on over that club, to the point where now this guy might be your default captain. Which I'm not taking jabs. Weston McKennie is a guy that I really love, but yeah, no, it's just interesting to say that for Juventus. But I mean, at the end of the day, tip of the cap to Galatasaray. They've always been, I would say, a thorn in Champions League. They've always been obviously kind of a Bayern Munich of the Turkish league, always able to poach all the other best Turkish players, and also adding in some really good foreign players like Victor Osimhen, who I don't know what happened with Napoli and him. That was a crazy thing. Crazy that happened. He's now a Galatasaray player. Like, that guy should have been in the Prem. Like, I don't know why he's not.
Absolutely.
So
he's too good to be sitting in Turkey. But like, I saw a stat where this is the first time Gala has been to the last 16 in 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. I thought that was really cool, just to see them back and getting the Turkish league back on the map too, because Fenerbahce, I know, got a little bit of press when Jose went there and Mourinho and all that, but at least now Galatasaray is showing that the Turkish league can compete in Europe and not just be a thorn, like you said.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, for them, it's a big statement, right? You beat Juventus, that's still a big club. It's a club that has a lot of pedigree, right? At the end of the day, so I mean, hats to Galatasaray. They're moving on to the next round. It'll be interesting to see who they match up against. We'll get to that a little bit later, but moving on to the next one, PSG beating Monaco 5-4. I feel like there's a little bit of history repeating itself here from last year, because PSG maybe not did all what they were supposed to do to be considered, especially after a year where they won a quadruple, right? Like they won almost everything except for a FIFA Club World Cup, but they were at the final of the FIFA Club World Cup. But a talented team. I think they had some injuries this season. Still on top of Ligue 1 as you anticipate them to be. And then, funny enough, you go into because they beat the crap out of Lille last year. That was who they played off in the playoff round, which I think is kind of weird. I feel like there should at least be a rule where you don't play against teams from your same league, but that's not here or there right now. But yeah, they handle Monaco because it's a team that they're very familiar with. They know how this team functions, and I mean, did Monaco make it interesting? Yes, I think they did make it a really good matchup. Obviously, Monaco, if you guys don't remember, is also a team that has a lot of oil money, but still hasn't necessarily lived up to full fruition for them just yet. Also, I still think it's boneheaded that they gave away Mbappe to PSG, by the way. But
I was going to bring that up.
But yeah, PSG, beats an opponent that they're very familiar with. What are your thoughts on this match one?
Righteous Felon Craft Jerky is the official jerky of Belly Up Sports. For over a decade, Righteous Felon Craft Jerky has led the American meat snack revolution by concocting delicious, adventurous, U.S.-sourced jerky recipes for uncompromising carnivores across the country. With 15 different flavors to choose from, Righteous Felon has all jerky lovers covered, and by using promo code BELLYUP, you will get 15% off your purchase at RighteousFelon.com. Do your taste buds a favor today and rip into a bag of Righteous Felon jerky.
I'm still thinking about what you said about how teams from the same league shouldn't play each other, but yeah, it's PSG. I think we all expected them to win this round. Monaco did make it interesting, which I enjoy the closer ties. Obviously, they're more dramatic. They bring more suspense to it, shall we say? But in the end, PSG's quality just showed out really overall. And yes, they've had injuries and setbacks, and this hasn't been the dominance of last year so far, but they could absolutely make it that way again if they can get on a heater like they did last year. And obviously it starts with the first step, and that's beating Monaco, and they did that. PSG is just that good.
Yeah, I'm sure the second half of the season PSG has looked a lot stronger, so yeah, a healthy PSG is, and on top of that, Luis Enrique, who right now could probably be argued as one of the top managers right now in the world. It's a recipe that you don't necessarily want to mess with too much with. So I agree with that. PSG, solid team. Monaco, I do not know what happened in that first leg, because I remember Monaco had a 2-0 lead. And then PSG just comes back. I mean, PSG does what PSG does, and that is
I feel like it kind of they just won when they felt like they had the dub in hand, and they just didn't see it out. I kind of think 2-0 is always the most unsafe lead,
most dangerous lead
in soccer.
Yep.
Yeah, you can never ever feel safe with a 2-0 lead, and I think Monaco just felt safe with it,
especially with the front PSG has. You never rest on that. Like, that team is still loaded, so I would never take that any lightly. Real Madrid beat Benfica in probably one of the most controversial rematches I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, Real Madrid won 3-1. They went to it was, which I think as a Madrista myself, if you can get a 1-0 victory at Benfica, you felt confident going into that second leg in the Bernabeu. And I mean, did Benfica kind of piss me off a little bit when they scored that goal, that opener? Yeah, but then, once again, it's Camp Nou. I mean, not Camp Nou. It's the Bernabeu. Real Madrid always rises to the occasion, especially when it comes. It's Champions League, right? It's Real Madrid. And I hate sounding so smug when I say that, but it is Real Madrid, right? It's Champions League is part of their DNA. It's their history. They are the Champions League, right? Most Champions League trophies and all that stuff. And at the end of the day, I don't think Benfica's had struggles, right? They're right now behind FC Porto right now in the Portuguese league. Your captain is Otamendi. I just think that's funny, just in general. But I think this is a team that Real Madrid should beat. In my opinion, it's just a team that Real Madrid should beat. Benfica has not been great, and that's even look. Has this been overwhelming as a Madrista? Yes, it's been an overwhelming season just in general. Everything that's been happening this year, Real Madrid. There's days they want to play great. There's days that they just look like they're lost in the sauce, and I felt that I basically felt that throughout this Champions League run for Real Madrid. And of course, the whole thing that happened with Vinicius Jr., which I'm not really want to go too much into it anymore, but that also happened.
I think obviously, like, this is a team that Benfica that y'all should be comfortably, like, this isn't, it shouldn't even be close at times. Yes, Jose has made them somewhat better, but still they're not and they're not a great team, as Porto's, obviously, like you said, above them in the Portuguese league. And it took a goalkeeper last time to beat y'all, and get into this place. And yeah, I kind of like how you said it. It almost encapsulates your season, but also it kind of encapsulates just the aura y'all have, especially at the Bernabeu. Like there's nothing like people dread going to the Bernabeu, and yeah, it's Real Madrid at the end of the day. They're going to take care of it, and they have the confidence and the swagger and the players to do it. And Jude Bellingham and Vinny and Mbappe, like these are world class players that y'all have, and they're going to. As much as y'all have had the weirdest season of all time, that documentary could cover, y'all are still Real Madrid at the end of the day. Y'all are still going to, be one of the best teams in the world, and Benfica's not up in that class. So, yeah.
No, yeah, that's pretty straightforward, man. I totally get that part. But all right, the only Italian side to move on to, at least, is there any more Italian teams? No,
that's the only one.
Yep. So the only Italian side moving on. Wow, not a single one that automatically qualified for the round 16. That's wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, Atalanta, which by the way have not had a great season wise with the Serie A.
No.
Sacked their manager early on in the year. Interest. You should have kept. You should have kept. Oh man, I'm now Gasperini. You should have done your best to keep Gasperini.
Yes.
And I mean, by the way, look at what Roma's doing. That's all I gotta say with Gasperini. But yeah, Atalanta, they beat Borussia Dortmund, which you mentioned it. Like Juventus, they lose to Galatasaray. We'll talk about Inter Milan in a bit. But out of the three Italian teams, Atalanta probably had the harder matchup because they're going against Borussia Dortmund, who is honestly a massive pain in the ass in Champions League. They have a great home field advantage. They always have the next up and coming player, which Adeyemi might be the name that you think of right now. But
certainly not Joe Bellingham.
No, yeah, that. I don't know if that's nepotism, but it definitely feels like it. You should have just stayed in Sutherland, man. You should have just stayed there.
Absolutely.
Atalanta. I mean, they were down 2-0 in the first leg, but then just come in a 4-1 victory to push them on to the next round. But yeah, Atalanta, like I said, not great in the Serie A right now. I think they're slowly getting better in the Serie A, but Champions League seems to be right now where they're putting all their chips on the table, and probably respectively so. But your thoughts on Atalanta, the only team in Italy right now into the next round?
I mean, yeah, caps off to them. Like they could have just given up, gone home and folded, but no, props to them. They came and they gave Borussia Dortmund a game, and this is a Borussia Dortmund team that's still second in the Bundesliga behind Bayern. So it's not like they're bad. Borussia Dortmund's a bad team this year or anything. Atalanta just when that penalty went in the 97th minute. That when they got that penalty, you knew it was going to go in, and you knew they were going to win. And it felt like all the momentum was in the world was on their side at that point. I mean, Atalanta's just like you said, putting all their chips in the basket of Champions League because they know they can't win Serie A at this point, even though it's been a weird year in that league. But yeah, I feel like they found the hump spot and just get by in this one. They can't do that in the next round, though. They aren't going to be able to, drop a 2-0 deficit and come home and, do it again. I don't think. They're not that good a team. No. But I think it shows that the mindset, that they showed last year is still there. It's just different and not as good team.
No, I definitely get that part. I definitely do. I think it'll be interesting what happens with Atalanta now that they're the only representative for Italy. But next one, Newcastle United. It's just pretty straightforward, man. It's Karabag. For them,
Yeah.
I think, obviously, like you mentioned, all the perks of moving on to the next round. This is the next round still, technically, so they still get some of that Champions League money, that TV rights and all that. So I think for Karabag, obviously big for them. But, yeah, Newcastle United very much showed the money that they put into this team. And this is what you're supposed to do against teams like Karabag. No offense to them. It is a 9-3 victory. First leg was 6-1. Second leg was 3-2. But, I mean, at that point, that's a 5-goal deficit that you have to try to make up in that second leg. And that's a tall order to ask for a club like Karabag. And, yeah, Newcastle United just handle their business. I don't really know much else to say about it.
Yeah, really. I mean, when you knew as soon as Anthony Gordon ran home that first goal, it was over. I think we all knew as soon as he scored like the first 3 goals, it was over. It was crazy, like how much of a heater he's on the Champions League, and in the Prem, he's just not as good for some reason. But yeah, credit to Newcastle, they did their job. They did it ruthlessly. Karabag, I think, would they have liked to move on? Yes, but I think they kind of knew as soon as they drew Newcastle that it was probably over. But they gave it a fight. In the second leg, it was kind of respectable that they actually put up a fight despite knowing they weren't going to overcome a 5-goal deficit, like you said. But I think it shows the heart, and I think they're probably going to come back next year even more hungry to try to do better, which is crazy to say. But they've shown that the Azerbaijan League is not one to be easily messed with in this format, at least, and that teams like them can pull off this kind of a run and get into this round, and they just aren't at Newcastle's level. Obviously, it's the Premier League, like the best league in the world. I think we can agree on that. And
I'm more of a La Liga guy, but I get
it. Fair. But yeah, the quality of the Premier League is vast compared to Azerbaijan, and yeah, pretty straightforward, like you said.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's really nothing really much else to say. Now, Bayer Leverkusen, which you want to talk about early manager exit. I think Ten Hag had 2 matches under his belt, then finally got sacked. Yeah, that's But in the hindsight, and it worked out for them because they're on to the next round of the Champions League. But a 2-0 performance against Olympiacos, 2-0 in the first leg, just strict 0-0 on this one. I don't know if Leverkusen maybe prioritized the Bundesliga in that second leg or what, but which I mean, no, Olympiacos, one of the best teams in Greece, obviously, the only team to I guess have some like a Greek team. They won the Conference League. They upset it. I forgot who they beat that year, but Leverkusen. Yeah, this was an interesting matchup just because this was probably one of those where Bayer Leverkusen was probably grateful that they got Olympiacos. But yeah, I don't know. I guess just because this isn't the Xabi Alonso Leverkusen anymore. I think maybe that's the reason why that I would have anticipated just a little bit more goals from them. But yeah, they did also mind you, you lose Wirtz, you lose Frimpong, you lost a good chunk of your roster.
Yeah, most of it. Yeah,
like some of the most important pieces to your team are gone, and I mean here you are. You're on the round of 16 in the Champions League.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, this was one of the more intriguing matchups of the playoff round. That I was like, okay, this could be interesting. It could Olympiacos, maybe sneak a 1-0, make it even if they were down 1-0, make it interesting going into the second leg. I mean, and like we said earlier, 2-0 is not the safest lead in the world, but still, Leverkusen is that good. I mean, shouts to their recruitment, honestly, over the summer. Like, I feel like, even despite the slow start, we're seeing now that they nailed the recruitment and the transfer windows and were able to strengthen the squad to make it where they can compete in the Champions League.
I also say
and make themselves.
It's nice that there's one team that's still applying Xabi Alonso's defensive strategies. It is nice to see one team is still applying defensive principles. Just pointing that out.
Yeah. At least that they care to, at least.
Very valid.
But yeah, it's shout out to Leverkusen. Like they knew what they had to do. They got the job done the first leg, and they're like, well, we don't need to do much as long as we don't give up 2 goals, we're good. And they didn't, and they definitely could have gotten a harder draw. But Olympiacos is not going to be an easy test by any means, and they showed they can be a pest inside of a lot of European teams, and yet Leverkusen showed their quality and they prevailed. So yeah, and like you said, I think they probably were prioritizing Bundesliga in the second leg, and honestly, I don't blame them. Like, rotating squad depth is so hard, especially when I'm sure they don't have as deep a squad as they had last year. So
yeah, so it's still impressive nonetheless. I'm actually going to skip this matchup because I know you definitely want to talk a lot more about this one. But I'm gonna save that one for last. We're gonna go Atletico Madrid beating Club Brugge 7-4. Really good first leg.
This was such a good tie. This was amazing.
Great first leg, 3-3 first leg, and then Atletico Madrid reminded everybody that they're Atletico Madrid, and they bought a lot of Argentine players. So,
it's and then of course Griezmann might be leaving for MLS of all places. So
yeah. Well, hey, he's been very vocal about going to MLS. Is he gonna do it? Is it gonna happen now, or is it gonna be after the summer? That's a wait and see kind of moment. But Griezmann. Yeah, I mean, Atletico Madrid has a lot of aspirations. Obviously, they're still competing for Copa del Rey. This season in La Liga is so weird that Barcelona and Real Madrid can just go through a slump and Atletico Madrid could just win this whole thing. Like, it is that weird of a season. So, anything is possible, man. Atletico Madrid could really, and then maybe they can finally win their first Champions League trophy. Who knows?
How big is the gap in La Liga for Atletico?
For right now, let me see. Let me pull that up. But it's still like, I think they still got like a ways to go because they have been getting embarrassed. Oh, I mean, that's probably not gonna happen. They have like 13 points. They're 13 points from Barcelona.
Okay.
and they have the same amount of matches played. Real Madrid has like a game in hand, and they're down 4 points. So
okay.
So no, okay. So that's a big no. But I mean, Copa del Rey is still a thing, and obviously, of course, they still potentially have Champions League. And also, fun fact, Diego Simeone, after all the changes that Barcelona and Real Madrid have done with managers, Diego Simeone is still the coach. So
yep.
That guy has the safest job in the world. I think it's more so because everyone's afraid of him, which I don't blame him.
Well, that and Atletico is a very specific method they like to do, so yeah.
And that's Diego Simeone is the embodiment of Atletico Madrid. So no one can tell me otherwise. That guy is just, once again, the black suit's very fitting. That's all I gotta say. It's just the blacked out suit is just
pretty much
the most accurate thing that he could be doing for himself. But Club Brugge, I mean, obviously a big club in Belgium. Nothing want to take it. I mean, one great first leg, but I think the second leg was just kind of was expected, especially when you're going into the Metropolitano.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Also, another hard place to play in. Anywhere when you're talking about the big three in Spain, it's going to be a tough place to play in. The fans are crazy over there. So, but yeah, that is Atletico Madrid. They're moving on to the next round, as I would expect anybody to expect. But the one that didn't anybody see it coming, even though this team has been going on a run to get to this point, your lovable darlings, Bodo Glimt, beat the last year's best defensive team, which that sounds hilarious to say when the way they lost to PSG. They beat Inter Milan 5-2.
Mm-hmm.
A team that has Lautaro Martinez. that guy.
Exactly.
And Bodo Glimt kept them down to 2 goals.
Yeah. It's incredible, honestly. Like, obviously no one likes going up to the Arctic Circle and playing there. But, you would expect them to I don't know when in that at the end of the first half in Bodo, when it looked like Inter was starting to pull away with this leg, and things could get messy. But credit to Bodo, they calmed things down. They turned it around in the second half, made it a 2-goal cushion, and honestly, going to the San Siro, like that's not an easy place to play either. We talk about the top three in Spain. Like the San Siro is an incredible atmosphere. Like the atmosphere in that second leg was incredible. It was amazing to hear. And yet Bodo had a game plan. It was a very simple game plan, really. Just it was your typical sit back and counter him, and yet somehow that worked.
Yeah, but it's just insane. Starting from January 20th, where they beat Man City.
Yeah.
They beat Atletico Madrid. And then on top of that, not only did you didn't just beat them on aggregate, you beat Inter Milan twice.
Yeah.
Outright beat Inter Milan twice. Like this is such a good run of form that at this point, if you're Bodo Glimt, you have to have the mentality like, why not us? At this point,
right.
Like, why not us? We just beat Man City. I'm sure some Man City fans gonna give like some sort of reason why they didn't win. Oh, we're resting our guys. I'm sure the Atletico Madrid fans.
That's the team that said they will refund their fans for the loss to Bodo Glimt.
So yeah, you beat a powerhouse in Man City. You beat a powerhouse in Atletico Madrid just to make it here, and then on top of that, you beat one of the best teams in Italy. Best known for the defense, and you outshot them. You outscored them 5-2.
Yeah.
And so,
that first half of the second leg had me nervous. Like the amount of shots Inter Milan were getting off was insane, and the close calls that they almost came and scored on a few times. Oh my word! But yeah, I mean, Bodo had a 0.3% chance to make the playoff round before that Man City game, and here they are. A town of 54,000 people. Saying that sits about 8,207, and here they are. Just it's really the blueprint for a Wrexham. Going back to the beginning of the show, Wrexham to say, hey, why can't we do the same thing? Why can't we be a Bodo Glimt and have that blueprint? How Bodo did it is really interesting. The recruitment is really interesting, and I just enjoyed I've enjoyed talking about this little story because it really embodies kind of what we love about soccer or footy, and honestly, it appeals to the person in us that loves the underdog, and yeah. It's so cool. This is the Norwegian league. Like this, they haven't had a team go to the last 16 since Rosenborg did in 96, 97. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was only 5 years old. So, not that thinking.
I wasn't born yet.
Well, that aged me a little bit, but all right. But all right, so that is the playoff round. Now we're on to the round 16. So these are I'm gonna start off with the matches that are gonna be on March 10th and March 18th. So the first leg March 10th, second leg March 18th, and the first one is Galatasaray taking on Liverpool. Obviously, Liverpool. Some people may be saying kind of a little bit out of that Premier League title race. Maybe you never know, especially what Arsenal just doing what they do best near the end of the season.
Yeah,
and also the way Man City also the way they're playing right now. But
yeah,
Galatasaray, you beat Juventus, and now you're about to go up against another team that's identity is Champions League, is success, history. Obviously, obviously as a Middlesbrough fan, you have some history with Liverpool as well. This is an interesting matchup. Maybe Liverpool gets a little scouting, some scouting on some potential Turkish players as well. In the meantime, but what does Galatasaray need to do to go up against a team that is just loaded in almost every position possible?
I feel like they need to do something in the home leg. I'm not going to say they need to win because, but I feel like they need to at least keep it close. I can't remember which leg is which, if it's at Liverpool first or not. But, yeah. But if it is the first leg at Liverpool, they need to make sure they aren't blown out. Like, they did to Juventus in the first leg.
First leg will be in Istanbul.
Oh, well, that's good. They can use that then as a platform. If they can somehow at least get away with a draw, or else like a 1-0 loss, I think that's how they have to play it. They have to play, like, make sure they can take advantage of the home crowd. And maybe they sneak by with a 1-0 win. If they can get a 1-0 win, that's probably the best way to do it. But yeah, probably do something similar to what PSG did last year when they they played the first leg in PSG. Of course, PSG has a lot better talent than Liverpool, than Galatasaray, I should say. But maybe do something similar to that. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that home field advantage needs to come into play for that first leg for Galatasaray. They need to have a performance where they can keep it close, because this Liverpool team, I mean, by the way, I believe they won like 3-0 today.
They won 5-2 today against West Ham.
Oh, never mind, 5-2. So this team can score, and when they score in bunches. So I mean, that's gonna be a big thing to keep quiet guys like Mohamed Salah. You gotta Edekite, who really has been turning out for Liverpool, which is crazy to think because Flores versus necessarily not panning out too well. But you still have Alexis McAllister. You still have just talent on talent. Gravenberch is still there, so it is very much a loaded team. This is very much a David versus Goliath, I think. But for them, it's just holding up a strong defensive front and just catching them on the. Which, I mean, you have the ultimate counterattack guy. You have Victor Osimhen. Yeah. If you can get him in an opening, especially, this isn't the same Virgil van Dijk over from the years before. He's still a very good center back, but this isn't the best center back of all time, Virgil van Dijk, anymore. So I think if they can get them on the counter, if Victor Osimhen can get a little exploit, which is also, once again, now you got to go against Alisson, another top goalkeeper. So it is going to be being able to exploit that counterattack, I think, is going to be important for Galatasaray, because you want to get maybe not as much of a lead, but just get something to go into that, because once you go into Liverpool, once you go into the Anfield, you're going to feel that crowd. I mean, they're literally on your neck when you're about to do a counter. So, or when you're about to do a corner. So I think it's very important for Galatasaray to be able to exploit the counterattack. If they don't do that, it's going to be a long game.
Do you think a 5 at the back could help?
I haven't seen it happen. I haven't seen it work for Liverpool. It's just gonna be trying to quiet the attack, man. That's all. Honestly, it's going to be just. Are you fit enough to keep that team quiet?
Yeah. That's the thing. The Turkish league is brutal.
Yeah. So that's going to be the big one. Next matchup is Newcastle taking on Barcelona. I mean, this is Hansi Flick, high line, high press. Can Newcastle United's midfield attack find a way to exploit that high line? Barcelona, maybe there's days when they're good, there's days when they don't look so good, but they will live and die off that high line. I can tell you for a fact, as someone that has to put up with it every year. So, well, I guess it's only been 2 seasons, but still. But yeah, that high line is a very big part of Barcelona's style of play. That's why they're so explosive on the attack. But that's also can be there. It's a double-edged sword when you talk about a high line. But how do you anticipate this matchup with Newcastle going up against Barcelona?
Well, I think Newcastle is dealing with a lot of injuries. That's been their huge thing this year. They have been incredibly thin at the left back position in particular. Um, and I say this with a lot of knowledge because our left back is from Newcastle. He almost got recalled in the January transfer window. So, um, but yeah, yeah, like you said, the midfield for Newcastle is probably where they're the most vulnerable, and I think Barcelona could easily take advantage of that. Like you said, high press, Hansi Flick, typical Hansi Flick. But like, yeah, it's gonna be. Can Newcastle take advantage of the height? They do have height in bunches and spades. Can they use that to their advantage? If not, I think it's going to be a long day for them because they don't score in bunches like a Liverpool and Barcelona can, and Newcastle's defense is not that great either this year. The Prem. So
I mean, if we had to do a prediction, I think we both kind of said, I guess essentially we're on Liverpool when it comes to that Galatasaray matchup, but.
I would say too.
If you had to pick Newcastle or United or Barcelona,
Barca, easy.
Yeah, I think Barcelona. The thing is, like, it's just, can you catch Barcelona in a slump? So I think that's gonna be the big thing. If you can catch them on a slump, this could be an advantage for Newcastle United. But I think Barcelona's gonna start finding a groove, unfortunately for them. So
yeah, like I said, Newcastle has height. In their attack, Voltamata is a tall beast, but it's the question of if they can take advantage of that, and I don't know if they can. So,
yeah, that's I'm also on that same boat. All right, we have Atletico Madrid taking on Tottenham, and the first game will be in the Metropolitano, so it will be Atletico Madrid. Tottenham. I got if you don't know, I despise Tottenham. Like there's just something about Tottenham that I just do not like about that. Maybe it's because they wear white kits, and I don't like that they wear white kits because they suck. But and yeah, they won the Europa League. Okay, who cares? But the only trophy they're gonna ever have. But also I kind of like Arsenal. But yeah, your thoughts on this matchup? Obviously you have no bias in this. Also, I hate Atletico Madrid. So
I kind of. Atletico should win this, right? But like Tottenham have been a different beast in the Champions League for some reason compared to the Prem, and obviously I think they know that that's the Champions League is the only eggs in their basket that they can have possibly at this point. They can't win the Prem, and they're just trying to survive at this point. I just don't think they have. If you look at how they play in the Prem. I don't think they have a chance against Atletico. If Atletico show up and play like as they normally do, I can't see them losing. This Tottenham team just gives up at the most random moments, and Atletico just has a crazy amount of talent. I just can't see any other way than Atletico winning, honestly. Especially if they get a two or more lead, then I think it's over for Tottenham.
Yeah, I feel so bad for Xavi Simons, who left RB Leipzig to come to the Premier League and of all teams Tottenham, and now he's like flirting with relegation. And so, but you know what? That's the decision you make when you sign that contract with Tottenham. But yeah, I think Atletico Madrid, once again, the mentality is there. All of them are embodiments of Diego Simeone. As a matter of fact, his son is plays for Atletico Madrid. So, yeah, like
I will say the new Igor Tudor being the new manager at Tottenham could be an interesting little twist.
That could, yeah. You bring up a fair point. Like, it's not the manager that they sacked, but does that add all more pressure, right? You're trying to stay out of relegation. Now you're going into this really big matchup against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League. Like, where's your priority right now? I mean, obviously, it should be Champions League.
Right.
And so, do you go down to the championship, but you get a Champions League trophy? Is that the payoff?
My dream is to see a championship team randomly playing in Europe.
Well, that would be one way to do it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Look, as much as I don't like Atletico Madrid, I hate Tottenham more. And also, I respect Atletico Madrid. Also,
Yeah.
is Diego Simeone. So, my bias is definitely going to go to Atletico Madrid. But
I can't see Tottenham winning this at all. So
okay. And then the last one for the March 10th, March 18th matches, it's going to be Atalanta taking on Bayern Munich, who is also one of the stronger teams right now in the Champions League. Obviously, depending on how their class is going to pan out, looks like they're also set to win another Bundesliga title.
Yep.
But yeah, how do you feel about Atalanta taking on Vincent Kompany and his boys?
I think Bayern's a strong team, and I think they have a really good chance to do some damage this year. Now, my only caution with this is the rust, the bye, because we just don't know how rested they're going to be, if they're going to have a little rust, and we just don't know if how good that's going to be yet. But yeah, I do think that Bayern should win this somewhat comfortably, just because, like we talked about earlier, Atalanta is not one of the stronger Serie A sides, and Bayern has Harry Kane, like one of the best strikers in the world. So I think that's all that needs to be said right now.
No, yeah, I think Atalanta. I mean, what a run! But I think this is it for them. I think Bayern Munich is just they're just levels on levels, man. And it's crazy because you don't have Jamal Musiala. Like this is the most insane part is they're so dominant and they don't even have their best player on the field. Well, I mean, I guess Harry Kane is the best player on the field, but their talisman, their young German English player, Jamal Musiala, very important to that team, and to not have him on the field, but still very much still can handle business on their own. Yeah, Bayern Munich is just a dominant force, man.
Absolutely.
All right, so the next one is the matches that are being played March 11th and March 17th, and we have Bayer Leverkusen taking on Arsenal. Arsenal, undefeated. Is the same curse is going to happen to them that happened with Liverpool? I mean, I guess it's not really a curse right now. But if they lose, do we start a curse now that you shouldn't go undefeated in regular league play?
Yeah. This is interesting because, like, you would think that Arsenal would be comfortably favored in this, right? But I have a sneaky feeling Bayer Leverkusen could pull something in this one. I don't know. I just they've been showing they can compete in the Champions League and they can do well in this competition. And they've shown they're not exactly the pushovers that we thought they would be at the beginning of the season. I don't know. Like, I don't know if you've seen the whole stats about Arsenal's time wasting tactics. I think Leverkusen could easily take advantage of that. And yeah, I just think if Arsenal play like the time wasting, keep the game short type thing, that could go in Leverkusen's favor, honestly. Especially if the first leg is at home, and maybe if they get like a goal or two, because Arsenal's good at defending, but if they have to go home and be not themselves, that could be a very interesting. Again, with a uneasy Emirates, that could be a very interesting kettle of fish to fry.
No, that's a very fair point. And I mean, it will be interesting because Arsenal obviously has Nkampe on their roster, who is loaned out from Leverkusen. I think Malik Tillman's health status will probably be pretty important to Leverkusen. If he's healthy, I mean, obviously you feel a little bit better when you have your 10 on the field. And Arsenal
isn't Nkampe cup tied?
Nkampe?
Yeah, Nkampe. Yeah.
I don't know if there's any rules that if he can't play against Bayer Leverkusen. But no, he's available for Arsenal as far as I know.
I'm too used to English rules.
I mean, maybe they wrote that down in the contract, but I don't think that was agreed on.
Yeah, that would be interesting if he could have played. But because he's been one of Arsenal's best players recently, so.
Yeah, especially with how they've been rotating that back line. For sure. But we'll see what happens, man. I think Arsenal should be able to take on Leverkusen, but hey, last team that went undefeated in the in this competition got eliminated. So we'll see what happens, man. Will it be a curse? We'll see. We'll definitely see. Next one is PSG versus Chelsea, which I have dubbed the Musa Bowl. Musa's a friend of the podcast. He actually played for PSG's academy, and his Premier League team is Chelsea. So
that's cool.
So yeah, interesting guy. We love him. So I have dubbed this the Musa Bowl, and it's also a rematch of the FIFA Club World Cup. So
yes.
So a lot of things.
This is an interesting one, isn't it? Like Chelsea, I feel like they're so inconsistent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know how much you. I don't know. Racine, I like the move to appoint Racine. I wish he would have gone to the championship. Like when we fired Rob Edwards, I was kind of hoping we'd low-key get Liam Racine. How he managed Hull into near a playoff position last year, how he managed Derby County, and then Strasbourg this last year as well. But at the same time, I feel like Chelsea isn't what we saw in the Club World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a fair assessment, or am I kind of just...
No, yeah, I think my dumbass said that Chelsea was going to be a major threat in the Premier League. Clearly, I was wrong, and I'm very grateful that I am. But I think I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened with obviously with their manager Enzo, but obviously it didn't pan out. And you bring in a really good young coach in Liam. I thought it was a very drastic decision to go with him. But there's just something about Chelsea in Champions League as well. Like that, this is a team that, and it's always the years that they just don't seem good. Like it's always those years that they're just not very good, and then next thing you know they win the Champions League. So it is one of those weird years. True. I mean, but yeah, I thought from what we saw in the FIFA Club World Cup that this team was poised to make a run. All the money that's been spent on this team is finally paying off, and then the Premier League happened. And so, like, I think this is such an interesting one because, like, as PSG is still a good team, but I'm just not as sold as I was, last year.
Right. I don't think any of us are. If you followed, the Champions League or PSG in general, they're not the same team either, let's be honest. It feels like it could be a very even matchup. Mm-hmm. Probably one of the more even matchups of the entire round of 16. And my thing is with PSG, how much are they going to, and with Chelsea too, how much are they going to rotate and for what leg? Because Chelsea's still trying to fight for a Champions League spot this year in the Prem right now, and they've got to deal with Manchester United and Liverpool, and how much are they going to prioritize that and in what leg? Do they want a certain lineup in a certain game or whatever? I think that could be a huge, huge part of this. I mean, PSG, of course, are cruising in Ligue 1. So I think that could be a huge factor as well in this tie.
You brought up a good point about that with PSG in their position right now versus Chelsea's. Yeah, I think I'm just because of that I'm siding with PSG. I think I was about to pick Chelsea. I thought Chelsea this is just a year where they just have the advantage on PSG for some weird reason. But then you mentioned that part. I think obviously Chelsea still wants to finish in a Champions League spot, and I think PSG is going to be definitely a lot more comfortable than Chelsea is right now in their league.
I would think so, but also that can lead to complacency as well. And that's why it feels so even, because like you can bring up a counterpoint to almost any argument you make for either team, and it sounds good. But if I had to pick, I probably would slightly side with PSG just because, like we said, the league position. So,
all right, and your lovable darlings, Bodo Glimt, and I mean, when you look at all the other teams across the board, also weirdly enough, I feel like the other side is also happy about this. You get Sporting Lisbon.
Yeah,
Sporting Lisbon is your opponent, and say on the flip side, on the other side of this whole thing, Sporting is also happy that they got Bodo Glimt. So this is
Right.
one of those like, I'm glad they didn't get Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Actually, I think who would they have been playing? It was Bodo Glimt
Manchester City.
Oh, so okay, yeah. So they really could have got Real Madrid. So this is probably the one that both sides would have preferred. Sporting, I mean, obviously Bodo Glimt going on the run that they're going, have that really helpful home field advantage right now. I think it's still going to be a little bit cold over there. It's in Norway.
Yeah.
So they still have that kind of advantage to them. And then you have Sporting who, they're 4 points behind FC Porto. Wow, actually Benfica is now 10 points behind Porto now. So that
Wow.
that's interesting. But yeah, so yeah, Sporting they have some big matchups. I mean, they have a Portuguese League Cup matchup against Porto. Then they got Braga, and then you're gonna go against Bodo Glimt. So you have some tough matchups before you go into the Champions League match with them. Some important matches for Sporting, especially if they want to still be in the race for the Portuguese league.
Yeah. And you're talking about that. Bodo Glimt have no league matches because their season ended in November. So they're kind of just. You could argue that rest is rust, or you could say that it's actually helping them recuperate and be fresher for these ties. It's a very interesting matchup, and yeah, like you said, this is probably the matchup both wanted. And I think Sporting, would expect to win. But I think Bodo has a chance if they can employ the same tactics that they did against Inter. And obviously, Sporting does not have the talent that Inter has. But, I think if Bodo doesn't change their tactics, which they don't seem to change their tactics at all for any team, then I think they could easily make this a fight, a rock fight, and make Sporting nervous. I'm fascinated to see if the first leg's in Sporting, and somehow Bodo gets a draw.
First leg's in Norway.
Okay, well, I was gonna say if the first leg was in Lisbon, then that could be really interesting. But if Bodo takes advantage of that home field like they did with Inter, I think they have a good chance to win this tie. However, I think we have to say that Sporting does have an edge in talent and all that. As much as Jans Petter Haug and Kasper Hoeg are both fantastic players, should be Premier League players. Kasper Hoeg was almost a Norwich City player this winter, and Jans Petter Haug should be a Premier League player. I mean, look at that assist he had for the second goal against Inter. That was beautiful. I loved that pass. But yeah, I think you have to slightly get the advantage of Sporting just because, as much as I would want to pick Bodo, and my heart wants to say Bodo, I know that it can't last forever.
No, I totally get that part, and I think Sporting obviously has played are playing matches right now. So this will be like the whole rest versus rust would be interesting. I'm going with Sporting. I think right now just because that advantage of alone, they're a game fit, but also that's just more impressive about Bodo Glimt more than anything else. It's just they're doing this despite not having any matches going on. So this is incredible. I don't know. I'm personally gonna be rooting for Bodo Glimt, but I definitely could see Sporting moving on to the next round.
And I tell you, as soon as if Bodo does win, I'm absolutely making a short right after that happens.
No, yeah, definitely, man. And of course, last matchup, and it's not an early round Champions League without having Real Madrid take on Manchester City. I think at this point, early matches of these two teams always have to happen. Screw having this as a final. Let's have it now. Real Madrid, Man City. Yep. Real Madrid, they might be without Mbappe. I think they're trying to move his recovery and trying to get him to recover quicker for this matchup. You do have Vinny still in your disposal. Jude Bellingham, I believe, is still going to be injured. But if anybody wants to have any positivity in this, Rodrigo is set to come back, which we know he's the Manchester City killer. So
yep.
So there is also that for Real Madrid. I will say, though, first leg is in the Bernabeu. So if Real Madrid wants to set the tone, they have to do it. Arbeloa has to get these guys hopefully bought in. But I will say this with Real Madrid. It's not so much about the big matches that I have to worry about. It's about the smaller clubs that Real Madrid just tends to just play down to their level. This is Man City. If there's anything that I know about Real Madrid, it's like Ash's Charizard. He won't show up for the Oddish, but he'll show up for the Magmar. So, like, I think that this is kind of what we're going to... At least that's what I'm, like, viewing it as. That this is where Real Madrid, they just show... They become a little bit more competitive when it's a tougher team. At least the players do. I think, you know, you still have Thibaut Courtois in the back. Like, he's still going to keep you in the game as much as he can. You still have some good defensive players at the end of the day, but I think when it comes to it, it's going to be those guys up front. It's going to be, can Vinny give you a moment? Can Rodrigo give you a moment? If Mbappe isn't available, who's gonna step in at that 9 role? And also you have Fede Valverde, who's always good for scoring a goal outside the box. So you have some options with you. Man City on the other side.
And for Man City, like, let's not forget, this is not the Man City defense with Company and company at the back, you know? This Manchester City defense is vulnerable, and y'all can take advantage of it. It's just a question of if you can. And, you know, I feel like a lot of teams in the Prem have not been able to do that fully, but occasionally you see the cracks. You see the opportunities. I think we saw in that Liverpool game that Liverpool were making opportunities, just costly, silly mistakes cost Liverpool at the end. And I think y'all have a good chance to really set the tone at the Bernabeu, like you said. If y'all can do that, I think going to the Etihad will be a lot easier for you guys. If it's close, like it's 2-1 or 3-2 or whatever, then I think it's going to be a nerve-wracking second leg because then everyone's going to be hyped. So,
yeah, I think the first leg is going to be very important to Real Madrid to at least set the tone for what this matchup's going to be. And yeah, if they can take it to City, which they've done it before, but obviously I think the question is going to be like, how long can you keep Erling Haaland quiet? I think that's going to be
exactly. Yeah.
Is there a center back right now that we have that can go toe to toe with Erling Haaland? And that's going to be interesting to follow, because I think Asensio, I don't think is available. I think he had like a head injury in the last match, so I don't know if he'll be available for Man City, which I don't know. I think sometimes he could be a defensive liability, but I think this is the time where we need to see something from Højlund. We gotta see something from the kid. But yeah.
Here's my question: do you consider the season a failure if you all don't win Champions League?
I consider it a season of failure if we don't win a trophy. So
okay, fair enough.
You get eliminated very embarrassingly from the Copa del Rey from a League 2 side that I think is also in the relegation zone. You're still in La Liga. I mean, you're 4 points behind Barcelona, but you're still behind in La Liga. You need to win matches. Copa del Rey, that's not happening. Spanish Super Cup essentially got Xabi Alonso fired. Yeah, there's a lot of things about this that, like, things need to go. Kind of what the board said. Okay, we got rid of Xabi Alonso. We got rid of the bad man, the guy that was apparently preventing you guys from whatever the hell he was preventing you from doing. I don't know. I guess not playing defense. And you get rid of Xabi Alonso. You bring in Arbeloa, who, in my opinion, this job is way over his head.
Surely he's not going to be your manager next season. Surely
he definitely not. I think it's interesting that we're rumored to have Jurgen Klopp, because that guy is way too opinionated for the board, in my opinion. But I would love it. I would love it. He won't take shit for anybody, but I don't know if the board's gonna want him.
Right. And I heard he's going back to Germany too, though. So who knows?
I know he's still an advisor for RB Leipzig, but And I know they brought up the rumors about Jose Mourinho, but after what happened with the whole issue with Benfica, I don't think that's happening anytime soon now.
No, probably not.
That's definitely not happening now. But I mean, Manchester City, obviously, they're still a really good team. They're actually finding some really good form right now in the Premier League. It's Pep Guardiola, at the end of the day. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting matchup. I think that these two always give out like a good matches between these two. But yeah,
I think that's why UEFA always pits them together, because they're like this matchup is the billboard for the Champions League. So
exactly. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Real Madrid. Obviously, I have to be biased. I cannot not pick Real Madrid. So
right.
I'm gonna pick Real Madrid. Obviously, you're here for a reason, so you get to be the unbiased person. So
I'm probably going to go Real Madrid too, just because I think y'all can take advantage of that defense.
All right, quick update. Yeah, Rodrigo is out. He has a torn ACL, and on top of things, there's a lot of injuries for Real Madrid. So this is it's on Vinny. It's on Vinny. That's all I'm gonna say. It's on Vinny. And I believe in you, Vinny. But yeah, so that's happening right now. But yeah, there's just a quick update with Real Madrid and Man City. But continuing on with the conversation.
So,
all right, but that is the Champions League. Obviously, matches start March 10th. We'll be back. They'll be back in action. John, it was great to have you on, man. This is your time. I know I had you for a good amount of time, but this is your time to go ahead and tell us everything about Pitch Grid, where to find you, and all that good stuff.
Oh, absolutely, man. I greatly appreciate you having me on. This was a lot of fun. You can find the Pitch Grid. We'll be covering more NFL Combine, NFL Draft. That's all coming up. Of course, we've got Premier League and the EFL Championship going on. MLS, of course, that's happening right now tonight. We have a couple of exciting guests coming up. We're going to be talking a lot of World Cup with them. Nate Bukaty from who is former Sporting Kansas City play-by-play guy. He's going to be on one upcoming episode. And Abe Gordon from 92.9 The Game in Atlanta. We're going to be talking all Atlanta United. We're going to be talking Premier League, Championship, Champions League, all that good stuff. And I'm really excited for both of them to come on and share their takes on, all the World Cup stuff going on for both the cities of Kansas City and Atlanta. And it's going to be a lot of fun. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple. We're on all the social medias if you want to find our shorter content and interact with us there as well. We greatly appreciate podcasts like you, honestly, who are small. You're a lot bigger than me, and are really something I aspire to be, because y'all are a really cool podcast, and I really enjoy seeing your content. So I really appreciate you having me on.
Man, no problem, man. No problem. Of course, it's always great to have you guys. And all right, guys, that's Champions League. We'll go ahead and move on to Players of the Week. Fight and win! All right, I want to give a big shout out to Pitch Grid. Make sure you guys, once again, go ahead and check out Pitch Grid. Go ahead and check out all the content that he's pushing on his, not only on his YouTube channel, but also his social media, man. He always has these topics that he wants to discuss, whether it's about American football or our football. He is there, man. Go ahead and check him out. Go give him some love. Players of the Week is brought to you by SeatGeek. SeatGeek is an amazing ticketing site, app, however you use it. Me and Edward, we use SeatGeek for a lot of our live sporting events or even concerts as well. It has such a simple grading system using numbers and colors. If the score is very low and it's super red, that means for that price, for that event, keep scrolling. You're going to find a better deal. If it is very high and very green, that means those seats for that event, buy them right now. You're getting a great deal. Enjoy your event. We love the simplicity of SeatGeek. And if you're not sold just yet, for first-time users, if you guys use the code BellyUpSports at checkout at SeatGeek.com, once again, use that code BellyUpSports at checkout. You will save $20 off your first purchase. So SeatGeek, life's an event. We have the tickets. My player of the week is Harry Kane. Back-to-back Harry Kane players of the week. Harry Kane scored 2 goals in Bayern Munich's 3-2 victory against Borussia Dortmund in their Klasse. So big win for Bayern Munich. And once again, Harry Kane just doing his thing, being probably right now one of the best players in the Bundesliga right now. And Edwards' player of the week is Lamine Yamal, who scored a hat-trick in Barcelona's 4-1 win against Villarreal. So solid performance from Lamine Yamal. The kid is really special. If you guys haven't been watching this kid, and this sucks as a Real Madrid fan to be saying that, but the kid is truly something special. So first time for Lamine Yamal this year. Actually, it's the first time for a lot of people, but not for Harry Kane because he got back-to-back. But those are our players of the week. Congratulations for being our players of the week. If you guys, once again, go to SeatGeek.com, use that code BellyUpSports at checkout, and you'll save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek Life's an event. We have the tickets. All right, guys, games to watch this weekend. All right, before we get into the big 5 of the leagues in Europe, we got Portland Timbers taking on the Vancouver Whitecaps in Major League Soccer. A little Cascadia action over there. In Mexico, in Liga MX, we got Atlas versus Chivas de Guadalajara, the battle of Guadalajara over there. And we also have Tigres versus Monterrey. I keep forgetting the name of this rivalry. I think it's the Clásico Regia, but I can't remember. But big rivalry there. Obviously, 2 of the biggest markets in Monterrey, and two biggest teams in Monterrey, 2 biggest teams in Mexico in general. It's going to be a good one, man. I need to go hang out with some of my Tigres fans and watch this game, honestly, man. In Portugal, we got Benfica taking on FC Porto, 2 teams that are really battling it out for the top spot in the Portuguese league. So you guys make sure you guys watch that. Also, we got another old firm derby. We got Rangers and Celtic for the Scottish Cup. So yeah, we'll see what happens, man. Can Celtic get over Rangers? I mean, we'll see what happens, man. It's going to be a really juicy matchup there. In Ligue 1, we got PSG taking on AS Monaco. Obviously, Monaco was eliminated by PSG. Can they get payback for their elimination in the Champions League? Or is PSG just going to keep doing what PSG does? We also have Lyon taking on Paris FC. Just threw that one out there, obviously. But that is Ligue 1. In the Bundesliga, we got RB Leipzig taking on FC Augsburg. A really good matchup. 2 teams are fairly even in the same as far as points go. So really interesting one to watch. And then SC Freiburg taking on Bayer Leverkusen. So that should be also a really interesting matchup over there in the Bundesliga. In the Serie A, we got Atalanta taking on Udinese. Atalanta, the only team from Italy still competing in the Champions League, taking on Udinese. We'll see how those guys continue their form. And we got the Milan derby. AC Milan taking on Inter Milan in just once again in the San Siro. It's going to be a beautiful sight, man. Make sure you guys go watch that one. It's going to be a big derby matchup there in the Serie A. In La Liga, we got Celta Vigo taking on Real Madrid, who just loves to torture me and not take advantage of opportunities when they're close within Barcelona's range. So we'll see what happens there in that matchup. And Athletic Club Bilbao taking on Barcelona. Obviously, with all the storylines that involved with maybe Nico Williams going to Barcelona and did not happen. So there's obviously going to be some sort of revenge factor if you're a Barca fan. But also this is a prime opportunity for Barcelona to get more separation from Real Madrid. So we'll see what happens, man. And, you never know. In the Premier League, there is going to be a break in Premier League, but it's because of the FA Cup. And we have a juicy FA Cup matchup as Newcastle United take on Manchester City in the FA Cup competition. So really juicy matchups. I believe Arsenal's playing Mansfield as well. So some juicy matchups right there over there across the world of football. But obviously those aren't all the matches that are being played this weekend. But if you guys need a good beginner's guide, we gave you some good matches to look forward to this weekend. So with all that being said, we're going to take one last break and then go into Give and Go with Kelcey, Coyne, and we're also wrapping it up as well.
Hey everyone, it's Ryan from No Credentials Required to talk to you about one of our newest partners at Belly Up Sports, SeatGeek. Yeah, live sports is great on television, but the feeling of being at the arena is a priceless experience. That's why our friends at SeatGeek are there to help you find the best tickets at the best prices. Not only can you get tickets to sporting events, but you can also get tickets to concerts, comedy shows, musicals, and more. Search for your desired event now at SeatGeek.com, enter promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, and you save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek. Life's an event. We have the tickets.
All right, guys. So obviously, new closing segment that we've been doing for a while, and that is playing the game of this soccer card game called Give and Go. Every card tells a story. What's yours? Give and Go is the ultimate soccer card game packed with trivia, challenges, and conversation starters that brings fans together. With 3 game-changing categories, it's designed to get everyone talking, laughing, and reliving their favorite footy moments on the couch, at the pub, or wherever the game takes you. Wherever you go, Give and Go. This is an ultimate awesome gift that I got from Jose from Goals TV. That's what they have. But yeah, go ahead and check them out. Give and Go Games is pretty awesome. There's actually also this card game in a drinking version. So this is just like the kickoff edition. So they have some really interesting games involving soccer, and these cards are very unique because like some things are like, you know, oh, you got to pretend you're limping off the field. Yeah, so it's like some interesting things like, you know, name the top 3 midfielders, something like that. So each card is very interesting. It's kind of like your own little trivial pursuit, if you will, involving the beautiful game. So Kelcey, the question that is given to me is, if you could relive one soccer moment, what would it be?
Oh, wow. Okay. Just any soccer moment. I didn't have to actually experience it, right?
No. Well, I mean, it says relive it. So you take it for what your interpretation is.
Okay. We'll go with as a fan, the moment I can relive the most as a fan. I think for me, all right, I'm down to 2. There's 2 I'm really thinking of. Okay.
If you want, I can say mine. So you can
yeah. You go ahead first, but just so you're aware, before we go, just the 2 I'm thinking of is my life reliving the Slovenia match in 2010 or the Miracle in Istanbul. One or the other.
Ooh, okay. I get what.
So those are what I'm debating on while you go.
Honestly, man, I think one of my all-time favorite moments, and it's funny because it's not even like an official competition. It wasn't World Cup. It wasn't Champions League. It was anything like that. Matter of fact, it didn't even involve a team I supported. As a matter of fact, we weren't even in the stadium. So I was spending the night at Edwards, and I remember his little cousin was there with us. So we were just mostly playing video games. And I remember it was a big thing that was coming in Houston. It was going to be a friendly between Barcelona and Club America. Obviously, we were nowhere near financially to go to this game, so it was like at NRG. Well, now back then it was Reliance Stadium, but now it's NRG. And I remember, yeah, me and her were like, oh, you know, it sucks because, you know, that was number 19 Messi, number 19 Messi. But that Barcelona team had obviously the likes of Carles Puyol, Rafa Marquez, Ronaldinho, which obviously, once again, you know, quick callback to Edwards' favorite player of all time. You know, Samuel Eto'o, Victor Vidal, a goalkeeper. I mean, you know, the list goes on. Eric Albidal, like the list goes on and on about that Barca team, right? Like, you know, legends upon legends on that team. On top of that, a player that I respect the most in the world, which is Carles Puyol. Yeah, and I remember, obviously, once again, we can't go to this game because, you know, none of our parents were going to buy us tickets to go watch it. But it was available on Univision.
Okay.
So they played it on Univision. So I remember me and Edward, we flipped the TV to that channel, and we were watching the game. And it was funny because, like, we're watching it, and we're, like, looking at it like, this isn't Barcelona. Like, these are, like, you know, reserve players that are playing. And the reason why we knew was because, like, America was winning 3-0.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remembered, like, the whole time, like, bro, what is going on? Like, there's no way America could beat Barcelona. Like, and this is, once again, coming from a guy that doesn't truly like Barcelona at all. And so it was just the weirdest thing ever. And then finally in the second half, I remember they bring out Barcelona. So we see then we saw Rafa Marquez, then we saw Carles Puyol, then we saw Lionel Messi, Ronaldinho, Samuel Eto'o, like they all came out, and me and Edward we looked at his little cousin. We're like, dude, you're about to watch something incredible. And he's like, the game's already over. They're down 3-0. They came back 4-3.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we're all just like, dude, they're going to score a fourth goal. I know they're going to score a fourth goal. And, of course, of all people to go in and put that fourth goal in, it was none other than the legend, Ronaldinho. Doing what Ronaldinho does best. And it's just like, once again, it was just like one of those moments where, I didn't care that it was Barcelona. I didn't care that it was Club America. I was just there in the moment, just enjoying legends. Guys that I would consider now to this day are legends in my book. Like, some of the guys, the greatest, guys that I grew up watching, and it was on top of that, I was just with my best friend, just being in the moment for him, and it was definitely one of my all-time moments of just me and Edward in general, but just some of the best times. It just was just goofing around and then it was funny because as the game is going on, me and Edward are trying to do the little tricks that the players are doing, like, oh, did you see what he did? And like me and Edward were trying to like do it with our feet, and yeah, so it's definitely one of my favorite core memories of me and Edward.
That's a good one. That's a really good one, actually. Man, you got me thinking about the first match I ever actually attended, like the first major, like non-American teams I ever attended a match for, which was Liverpool-Roma at Fenway in 2012. And that I'm changing my answer to that because I think that was the first one I ever attended in person where I was like, this is different. Don't get me wrong. I loved soccer in high school. This is the first time I ever was on my own and got a chance to go see European teams. And yes, it was in America, but it's in Fenway Park. It's something unique about Fenway. And it's old school. And to see Liverpool, to see Roma, Michael Bradley was on that Roma team. He actually scored the first goal of that game, which was really cool. This was 2012, so this is after the World Cup in 2010. So it's after all that excitement. And as a guy who watched The Miracle in Istanbul as my really first, that was the first thing I cared about as a Liverpool fan. And that was I never watched it live. I watched it replayed the first time. That was my first soccer match I ever watched on TV. So this is the first time I ever got to see Liverpool play in person and not 3 a.m. in the morning on Fox Sports 1 or Fox Soccer Channel or whatever it was. This is I can still tell you the intro of those old TV days. So, but this is the first one I was in Boston for the opportunity to go check something out, and I was there, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go to this. I actually set it up so I was there perfectly in time for this friendly, and that was one of the coolest things. Hearing You Never Walk Alone in person. I've heard it once more since in person. Still haven't heard it in Liverpool, but it's still one of the most bone-chillingly exciting things to hear. In person. I think that was amazing. And it's Fenway Park. You don't expect there to be a sold-out baseball stadium for a soccer match, but it was. It was completely sold out. Seeing the Green Monster decked out with Liverpool, with Roma fans, easily one of the more exciting games. 2-1 finishes. It wasn't like, some barn burner or anything, but I think just from the fan experience as an American soccer fan, it was amazing to see a team that I rooted for and then an American player on the other side, especially an American player scoring for AS Roma. And that was something else. Francesco Totti was there, Daniela De Rossi. That was something I think I'll remember forever as far as just one of the more exciting personal things. And I didn't think about it at first because it's just you don't really think of friendlies when you think of the moments you want to relive the most. But that was, I think, just from pure entertainment aspect, it was one of the more purely entertaining things I've ever watched. Just because it didn't mean much, but people were still having fun, still competitive match, still got to see the top players. That was, that was really cool to me. So I think that's the first one that I can say I'd love. Now, if I ever go to Liverpool and watch a match in Anfield, it's a much different conversation. But I think, that's going to be my number one.
Oh, correction. It was a 4-4 draw. It was a 4-4 draw in that game. The Barcelona America game.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. But let me just tell you right now. So Rafa Marquez did score in the 5th minute. So he scored early on in the game. But so like I said, Barcelona was down. In the 84th minute, a goal was scored by Saviola.
Okay.
Then in the 89th minute was Ronaldinho. So that was the goal I was thinking of. And then the tie goal was Samuel Eto'o.
Oh yeah, Samuel Eto'o before he got transferred and replaced with Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Yeah, that was like 09. That was a crazy year.
Yeah.
Interesting decision, but yeah, no, and it's funny because you talked about that with going to a Liverpool game here in the U.S., but still like, you get to still get the experience of like being amongst other Liverpool supporters. Like honestly, like I mean, when I went to go watch Real Madrid play Bayern Munich here in Houston, like. Is this the Bernabeu? Absolutely not. But to like be in the supporters, I was in the supporters section with Real Madrid, being around other Madridistas singing "A la Madrid y nada más," and yeah, Real Madrid got beat badly by Bayern Munich. But the highlight of that for me that day was I got to witness a Rodrigo goals free kick goal. Right at my face.
That's not a bad thing to get to experience.
And that's the day I adopted him. That was the day.
The day he became forever a Madrista.
Well, not that, but for him, yeah, definitely.
For you, you picked him you picked him as your forever.
Oh yeah, definitely for sure.
We all have that player, that one guy that maybe he wasn't the best. Like mine's not Stevie G, mine's Fernando Torres for Liverpool. Fernando Torres, to me, will forever be a Red. No matter how long he spent at Chelsea, he's still forever a Red.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. If I had to think about, that's an interesting question now. Is it Rodrigo? Because I think Rodrigo is still, like, a quality player. I don't think anybody, like, really, Well, I guess that's a valid point, because you said Fernando Torres. And Fernando Torres, I think a lot of people will say a lot of good things about him.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Not the exit. The exit was definitely not it. But
okay, fine. Here you go. Martin Skirtle. There you go. There's a guy who maybe wasn't top tier by any means. Dog. He was really good, but he was
absolute dog.
He's forever a Red as well. Same with Daniel Agger.
That's the kind of guy that like you hate to play against him, but you love to have him on your side.
Yeah,
kind of guy. No man, now you gotta be thinking of like all the Real Madrid players. Man,
see, I think your current would. I think beyond Rodrigo, though, it's probably Valverde is your other guy. Valverde is
another one of my adopted sons. So, but he's the captain now. So, I'm trying to think of like what's a Real Madrid player that maybe doesn't get enough shine, but always.
Rodrigo. Rodrigo is that guy.
Rodrigo is that guy. I mean, at once upon a time, it was Karim Benzema as well.
Yeah.
And once again, if you guys think I'm lying about when El Galacticos 2, that between Ronaldo and Kaká, that I was more excited about Benzema. Once again, you can ask Edward. Edward was there. Like, yes, did I like the signing of Kaká? I did. Kaká, but it also felt weird not seeing him in AC Milan, though.
Yes.
But did I like the Kaká signing? Of course I did. Did I like the Cristiano Ronaldo signing? Of course I did. But I also have said it plenty of times. Cristiano Ronaldo can fuck off. Once he left Real Madrid, I gave literally a rat's ass. Sorry for cussing, Kelcey. But, I literally just did not care about Cristiano Ronaldo anymore. Like, it's funny because, like, whenever everyone just assumes every Madridista has to be a Ronaldo fan. I am a Real Madrid fan. Like, once you leave my club, I can care less what happens to you unless I just really like you. Like, Benzema is one of those cases where I really like Karim Benzema. I still follow whatever he's doing, even now that he made the move from Al Ittihad now to Al Hilal, which is hilarious because that caused Cristiano Ronaldo to be very angry. So, but like there are players that I still like. Like it may sound petty, but I unfollow people once they leave Real Madrid. but Benzema isn't one of those guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. If Vinny ends up leaving, he's probably going to be one of those guys as well. I guess if Vinny were to leave. If they were to have to choose between Vinny and Mbappe, which I think most people would pick Mbappe, like, I think I would still follow Vinny. Like, I think Vinny's a good guy. Does he play with his heart on his sleeve a little too much? Yes, but I think honestly, there's certain players that you have to take him for all that they are. And Vinicius Jr. is one of those guys. So...
And look, he would never be Vinny if he wasn't that guy. And that's like this. You know what? Go back to our intro with Antoine Griezmann, and we talked about how the old heads really hate him. It's the same thing. It's like dude, he's got to be that guy to be good. That's who he is. That's his person. Like, leave him be. Yeah. Like, we're not talking about, oh man, I had his name and now it's running away from me. Brazilian and Spanish, played for the Spain national team.
Diego Costa.
Yeah, we're not talking about him. We're not talking about a just complete and utter tool bag. Like, we're talking about somebody who is actually like, he's a good player, really good player, world-class player at his best, who's, yeah, he's a little eccentric. He wears his heart on his sleeve. Okay, but, that's the edge that, you know what? I could go down a longer road with this conversation. I'm realizing it now, but I'm going to stop myself because I could be like, this is why American players suck, is because we don't play like that. We don't play with that attitude. And yeah, we can go down a much longer road there, but.
Which I hope Pochettino is starting to show, is starting to like rub that onto some of the guys, I think. Like, that's why I kind of will.
Like, I want the Diego Lunas. I want the Diego Lunas of the world. That emotional fire that needs to be on a pitch. You need to have something to play for. Like, think about the best players in the world. They didn't come from rich families.
Honestly, you can give me like 5 more Chris Richards.
That's fine too. I would take all the Chris Richards. That's I'm cool with that.
Give me more guys like Chris Richards, man. Like, that dude plays with a lot of effort, man. Sometimes it's just like dudes that work hard, man. That you fight for those guys, dude.
Damn.
Which, once again, now it just
Kyle Beckerman was one of my all-time favorite guys to watch play because he was the engine that never stopped. He was the guy that always could. It's like I imagine Will Bruin for a lot of people were that way. Like, people loved Will Bruin for just his work ethic, and he maybe didn't score a bunch of goals, but he was always doing the right thing for his team.
Honestly, that's how I felt for Griffin Dorsey, and I still hate to this day that the Dynamo traded him away. But yes, man, give and go, man. I'm telling you, man, this is a fun card game. This is super fun. I can't wait for the more different versions of this game. But yeah, like, a lot of the card games here are fun, guys. Go ahead and check them out. giveandgogames.com. Go get yourself one. It's pretty fun, and they have a drinking one. So for you alkies out there, so.
Well, you guys not that anymore, but you know what? Maybe I could be.
But obviously, Kelcey, it's always a pleasure to have you on. I know you're going to be really busy this month with lots and lots of stuff. So, go ahead and tell the people what's going on with the world of Kelcey.
Yeah, so the world of Kelcey is very boring. No, I'm just kidding. It's never boring. Never boring in my world. Honestly, it's always full. Got post-combine conversations for the NFL. Baseball season's about to start. You got basketball heading into the playoff stretch. But most importantly, because I'm on a soccer show, I get to say this and actually be excited about it. Look for myself and Hector, potentially, to be delivering shorts through Belly Up for the next 3 months as we go up to the World Cup, talking about every team in the group stages, breaking down their odds, breaking down their players to watch, breaking down all of that. So we'll have a bunch of shorts coming out through Belly Up. And then you will also get our return of Summer of Soccer at some point in time. Probably not this month, probably in April. But that'll be coming as we prep for that and get closer and closer to the World Cup. So lots of fun stuff coming up that is soccer related and not soccer related. But lots of good stuff in the next couple months. So can't wait for it all. You can always check me out, Hilo Sports, over on Twitter at @high_low_sports, Hilo Sports everywhere else.
Well, you heard that, man. And obviously we'll make sure you guys go check out Belly Up Sports, man. Go to bellyupsports.com. Lots of articles that are being constantly written over there. Real busy that's going up there. Things are changing at Belly Up. I mean, I always keep saying that, but things are also shaking up even more at Belly Up Sports, man. Also, give them some love on their YouTube channel. That's how you watch the full video version of this episode. Also, I mean, you got to hear John from the Pitch Grid. Go ahead and give him some love as well over his YouTube channel, the Pitch Grid. Interesting channel where he covers not only football, but he also covers American football. He's a really great storyteller, man. Go ahead and check out his content. Really informative guy, really does his hard work, man. And it was really fun talking to him about the Champions League. Also Goals TV. You'll see me there from time to time. You'll see me do some MLS content over there with those guys. Be on the lookout. There's going to be even some more cooler stuff happening, especially with the World Cup with them, along with us over here at Belly of Sports as well. And, I mean, Roosevelt Spencer, man. What else can I say, man? If you guys listen to the audio version of this podcast, you hear some amazing beats. Even through the video version, you'll hear some amazing beats. And those are made by none other than Roosevelt Spencer. We love Spencer so much that we have named the Roosevelt Spencer Player of the Year award after him because of how iconic he is to us. So, If you guys need some beat work done, go on Instagram, check out the account. That guy dope. Once again, that guy dope. Message him, tell him that you need some beat work done because look, I'll be honest with you, copyright's a son of a bitch. So,
it is.
So if you guys don't want to deal with that, get some original beats done by Spencer. He's gonna take great care of you like he always does with me, and also with High Low Sports. So
and with our Summer of Soccer show. Last year he gave us the beat from last year that we used. It'll also be probably the same one this year. Maybe we'll spice it up. Maybe we'll talk to him about spicing it up this year.
There you go, man. So Spencer is definitely much your guy. And yeah, man, make sure you guys follow us on all social media platforms at InsertNameFC. Check out our YouTube channel when I'll eventually start putting up some videos in there at some point. But right now I'm just focused on Belly Up just because, like, we all know what's been going on with my life. But with all that being said, man, thank you so much for listening. Catch us next week for another episode. Edward will be back. So we'll see. Hopefully he's not hunting Pokemon cards again.
Timo Werner scores 3 goals.
Actually, you know what? I take that back. I don't think this isn't Edward. Edward's going to have his boys. So, no Edward next week. but eventually Edward will pop up at some point. But with all being said, man, thank you so much for listening. Catch us next week. Take care, guys.